My name is Taye, your host, and I'm here with Kenwell. The other guy, Ushers, isn't going to be with us today for reasons, but he might jump in maybe in the next 5 or 10 minutes. I would like him to join in though, because he has this love hate relationship with Xbox, and it'd be interesting to hear his thoughts on Asha. I've kind of seen him tweet about it a little bit, and it's good, but he thinks that she's still kind of doing a bit of corporal talk. I don't really agree with that. But yeah, listen, we'll get into it shortly. Ken, how are you today?
I'm doing great. Lip is numb, but we gonna rock with it. I'm
Oh yeah,
hella excited for what we gonna talk about.
yeah. There's a good bit. I mean, we have the gaming, we have the news, but I think I want to do the gaming first, just because
Yeah.
I mean that's why we're here. That's what we love. So the first topic of today is The Witcher. The Witcher 3 is gonna have an expansion, and I have the details here. So the DLC is due out in 2027, which means it's coming 12 years later after The Witcher 3, which has sold 60 million copies worldwide. This is going to be the third expansion from Hearthstones, and I think it was Blood and Wine. But Tommy, what are your thoughts on this? Like, are you looking forward to this? Why do you think this is happening? And is this even something that you would like to see going forward, where we're getting DLCs for games that have been released 10 to 15 years ago?
So I think it's a cool idea. I like how they're going back to The Witcher, but this is definitely an exception.
Hmm.
This is not something I think that should be done normally because not every game deserves to come back to it.
Hmm.
And there's only been a few games. So I would say this is still kind of, in my opinion, an experiment. But the thing I'm thinking is Fool's Theory, the studio that is doing the expansion. I feel like this is kind of their warm up to the Witcher 1 remake. So
Hmm.
this is kind of like, all right, let's get familiar with the tools, the engine, how the game is supposed to look, these assets, and let's first see a trial run, and then let's hit the ground running with the Witcher 1 remake, and then let's see how this relationship cultivates. So I think it's a good idea with that. I just think it's more of an exception. And also to finish answering off your question, personally, I'm not really excited, but I'll be there.
So I agree with you. I think for any team making a remaster or remake or any of these kind of titles, I think a junior team should be able to handle it, or at least mixing a junior team with a team that doesn't have that much experience. Because the truth is, and this might happen with Bluebird team, with PlayStation, is that just because you're good at making a remake doesn't necessarily mean you're good at making your own brand new IP. Because listen, creating a brand new IP is new character models,
Mm-hmm.
new stories, new music, new pacing, everything, gameplay mechanics. But when you have an established foundation already, you're just taking that and just improving it, you're just upscaling it. That's not talking about the skill of doing it, but it's kind of like tracing. If you tell me to draw a character, a brand new character, I'm gonna probably struggle a little bit. But if you're like, oh, draw something that's like Mario, well, I mean, that's a little bit different, right? Um, you could even make an argument. Like I saw this clip of Astro Ball, and everyone was taking all these sections of Astro Ball, saying like, "Yo, this is Mario Galaxy, bro." Like, look at all these
Yeah.
stages, look at all these things, and for them, they were able to look at Mario Galaxy as a reference point, and then make something truly special. So I'm not talking about the actual skill from it. In terms of am I looking forward to it? I think no, I'm not looking forward to it because it's still The Witcher 3, and I don't know how it's
Yeah.
going. Is it going to be The Witcher 3 gameplay, like graphics, gameplay?
I don't think it can be because it's coming out for the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series. So it's gotta look different. Like I feel like it's gonna be going back to what we're saying about this studio making The Witcher 1, remaking it. I feel like it's gonna be akin to that. Because at first I thought it was, I believe, let me look this up. I thought it was going to be using Unreal Engine 5, but I think the expansion is going to be using the Red Engine.
Yes, I did. I was talking to a guy about that, and he said it was the Red Engine too as well. So that's I'm wondering then how much can you do with it? Hey Rachie, what's up? Long time no see.
Yo, Rachie.
We did a podcast last week, and I was telling Asha, so I was like, because Asha doesn't want to do the podcast, well, he doesn't want to host a podcast anymore. So I was like, yo, get Rachie, Fuzzy, and whoever else was watching, like, bring him over here instead, because I'm serious about this shit, unlike you. But yeah, Rachie, it's good to see you again, man. Rachie says the Witcher 1 gameplay is very bad, which it is true. It's trash. It needs a remake. And Rachie says, look at Obsidian. The best RPG was built on top of an already great foundation. Knights of the Old Republic 2 and New Vegas. Do you know what's crazy about that statement? Like, he's so right. Like, if you were to ask people what is Obsidian's best games, they'll talk about these titles, right? And no one's really talking about Avowed as much as Outer Worlds 2. It is these New Vegas. A lot of people are going to say, like, yeah, that was the best work. So no, I agree with you there, Rich. I think you have a point. Some studios are just really good at just taking something that's already established and turning it into something that's magical. But how about the Witcher 1 remake? Because that's gonna come. I think that's good. I think that's the one I'm actually really looking forward to.
Yeah.
Because for me, anyway, we can talk about the Witcher 4 after this. The Witcher 1 is Geralt, and I'm a Geralt guy. I love Geralt, right? And The Witcher 1 is the only Witcher game I actually haven't played. And if you're telling me you're going to take The Witcher 3's gameplay, I would prefer The Witcher 2's gameplay. But if you're going to be The Witcher 3's gameplay, you're going to upscale the graphics to something similar to how they did the remake of maybe not Final Fantasy remake, but maybe something even more akin to Oblivion. Now that's what I want.
Yeah,
because to me that feels like a brand new game. Whereas the expansion just feels like it's an expansion. I think it's going to look more like The Witcher 3 or be like The Witcher 3. But anyways, I mean, let me know your thoughts. I mean, are you interested in The Witcher 1 as well?
Yeah, The Witcher 1, I got, when they first announced it, I wasn't as excited. But I played The Witcher 2, and that was when I was like, all right, yeah, I can get down with The Witcher. It's not my favorite, but knowing what The Witcher 1 looked like and like how it played, it's definitely interesting that they're going back, and it makes me excited because it's so untapped. Because I didn't know anything about The Witcher being part of this book series and how the games are actually following along with the books. So I'm definitely excited. Is The Witcher 1 more linear? Because that's how I felt with The Witcher 2. The Witcher 2 was pretty linear.
It was, yes. The Witcher 1 is, I think it's a lot more linear, to be honest.
Okay, yeah. So that there's probably gonna be a lot of tweaking with The Witcher 1, which is gonna be cool, and I'm all for it. This is something that I'm getting really excited for because CD Projekt now has a lot of projects in the pipeline, which makes me not like hesitant for them. I feel like they're really getting into form, which is weird because of what happened with Cyberpunk. But I feel like they're getting on top of things and they're covering their bases and they're trying to put out more content, but not trying to shotgun it. Well, kinda, if this Witcher plan is true. Did you hear about that Witcher plan with the trilogy?
You mean 4, 5, and 6?
Yeah.
Within
6 years.
Yeah, no, I see that happening because I think what they've done is they've looked at their pipeline. They've already have the established gameplay and story modes, and I think jumping from Witcher 2 to Witcher 3 was a big step for them. Excuse me, like graphically and gameplay wise, things were changed. But when you go from The Witcher 4 to The Witcher 5 and 6, I don't think there's going to be much of a jump in terms of anything crazy, especially when you're using the same engine. You know, really like nothing's going to change too much. And I think the difference between this is when they went from The Witcher 3 to Cyberpunk, that's a whole new game, right? It's a whole new environment, whole new gameplay styles. etc., etc. But if you're just jumping from The Witcher 3 to Witcher 4 to Witcher 5, it's gonna be okay. I think it's good. You could make an argument that they're trying to Ubisoft it now by releasing
That's
this
what
quick. Mhm.
yeah. That's how I feel. I think I feel like it's a little too much because it's like these games are 40 to 50 hours.
Mhm.
So how much can change from The Witcher 4, 5, and 6? You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like they wouldn't 5 and 6 just be iterations of The Witcher 4, which means you're kind of in like a situation like God of War where you're really dependent on the story of the game.
Mhm.
Not as much the gameplay, because the gameplay is gonna what you're gonna get from the gameplay. And I'm like, that's a little I don't know how I feel. I don't know how most people are gonna feel about that. So I'm like,
Mhm.
I don't know. I think it's just a little. I would just say be cautious about that if I was a consultant for CD Projekt Red.
So I trust them.
Mhm.
I trust them because at least when it comes to the Witcher 4, 5, and 6, I think that's easy enough for them to do if they have they already have the teams in place, and you're just kind of making sequels like Uncharted, 4 or 5, like 3, 4, 5, or whatever it is. I think you can do that. You can do that relatively okay. In the same way how you could say God of War took 5 years to make the sequel, and so did Spider-Man. It took around Spider-Man 2 took like 5 years to make. So I think what they're really saying here is that like you're gonna see the sequels in the space of like 4 years, around that kind of timeline, 4 to 5
Mhm.
years. I think that's probably reasonable. I think with The Witcher 1, what they're really doing here is that they've with The Witcher 1, what they're really doing here is that they just kind of like allocated that to someone else in the same way how we've seen, um Silent Hill 2 be successful.
Yeah.
And we've seen Oblivion be successful. And if they just kind of keep the eye on these studios and manage them, I think you should be fine as well. So
Yeah.
overall, I think things are okay. So I trust them enough. Interesting enough, somebody mentioned that maybe they're gearing themselves up to be acquired, saying, "Hey, look at all these games we're working on. You guys want to
Oh.
come through?" Now, I don't think that's true, but
Yeah. Yeah.
that is certainly attractive. Hold on, I'll just
Cause
listen to me.
oh.
Uh, I don't know why he's calling me. Just join the stream, bro. 1 second.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep talking though. Yeah, so The Witcher 3, the Witcher expansion, CD Projekt Red has really become one of my favorite AAA studios because I feel like the Eastern European devs, they really know how to punch above their weight class. They come with the graphics, they come with the story, and they come with the great gameplay. And CD Projekt Red has just mastered that. Especially just with Cyberpunk. I'm so excited to see what they have done with Cyberpunk. Like, if you keep up with it, they do little things like they update the game, and there's a teaser to Chicago, and that was kind of leaked by the creator of Cyberpunk. That the second game will have a section of us going to Chicago, which I think is really dope because it's a city in America that they don't really have a lot of games on Chicago. I think only The Witcher, Mafia, I think maybe Mafia 1 and Watch Dogs 1 was in Chicago, but there's not a lot of games set in Chicago. So that'll be really cool to see what that looks like. But yeah, like CD Projekt Red is just one of my favorite studios because they, no matter what people say, I was posting a video on the Witcher 4 news, and like one guy was saying, "Yeah, I don't forgive them," and I think that's very fair. But it all depends. Like for me, I have to be selfish in this regard because when I played Cyberpunk, I played it on the PlayStation 4 Pro, and I'm not going to be ignorant to the fact that the game didn't run very well, but it ran well enough where I got to experience the game. And I was like, wait, my first playthrough, I was like, no, this game is pretty damn good. They delivered. So it's different for me. Like I don't really think they have to make up for me personally. So like Witcher 4, especially Cyberpunk 2, I'm going to be there day one. It doesn't matter.
Yo, to that, I mean, I don't want to insult people, but like anyone who's telling me like, oh, I don't forgive them, bro, get over it. Like, what you mean? I don't forgive them, man. This is strictly business, bro. This is
It's
business
strictly,
transactions.
yeah.
You know, I don't
And
know.
I don't like. I'm not gonna lie. I don't like when gamers do this thing where it's like, no, the company did this on purpose. It's like, come on, dog. They don't be like that. The devs did not want to release a game in this state. It was upper management that did all this shit. Like you can't you do have to separate the two. And I remember they did a documentary for Phantom Liberty, and they were talking about it. And it was like they basically, what I really fucked with them with, it was like I knew these guys were different, was they were like, we knew we had it. Like we knew we delivered. It was just because of just the higher ups putting pressure on them to release the game and the processes that needed to be taken and improved upon, like the process of testing the console version, the communication between teams. Like I really fucked with that. Like the entire documentary, they weren't like they weren't trying to be defensive and be like play the victim. They were just like, yeah, we messed up, but like realistically, we had the game. Like we knew what we were doing, but the circumstances just weren't right. They didn't go our way.
Yeah, no, I agree. The way I look at all these situations, God damn it, why is everyone calling me? The way I look at the situation is basically the game came out and maybe it was bad, it wasn't good, it was trash, whatever you're gonna call it. Okay, just don't buy it, and I'm pretty sure they were giving out refunds, right? You know, there's no personal feelings towards a company who does whatever they want to do. If you release a product that I want to play, I will play it, and I will like it and enjoy it, and that's the extent of our relationship. You know, if you release a console, like I always tell people this year, I was a Nintendo guy back in the days, and when Nintendo released the Wii, the more I looked into the more I was like, oh, this isn't for me.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all have said this ain't for me, and when that happened, I just didn't bother. Now I did get the Wii, but like my family got it because of what it was. It was this. I didn't buy games for it. I didn't do. I bought Smash Bros. And that was that. I bought the games I wanted to play for it. And I think that's where it happens. Like some people get a bit too transactional. Also, they get too personal with these developers. But Ushers, welcome. Are you there? Ushers, what's up?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. What's up?
Sir, sir.
Cool, man.
Oh, you got an echo, bro.
It's because I'm using my MacBook.
Do you have earphones?
Yeah, let me get that.
Yeah. But yeah, before you answer, so Rachie says, games that take 9 years to make don't have the right saying we needed more time.
That is mismanagement.
Yo, so I got a question for you guys before we actually jump on, because Rachie, thanks for bringing that up, because I think this is a good one. Forza Horizon 6 has come out and has solidified Playground as one of the top tier studios out there. Does it matter? Because everyone was saying like, yo, when Fable drops, these guys like, and if it's a good game, great games are going to be seen as the best of the best of the best. The question that I pose to you and Asha is, does the fact that like Fable is going to come out in its 10th year of development, or even maybe 11th, who knows, whatever, does that knock off their shine a little bit? Or do you think it doesn't matter because the product is still a product, and it doesn't matter if it took you 20 years, 15 years, if you release a great game, it's a great game? What are your thoughts on that? Asha's still on your back, so I'll jump to Kenwell first.
Yeah, I don't think it really matters. It's just the ending. The ending is the only thing that matters when it comes to video games. Like, if it took this long, you're just going to get ragged on harder. But let's say if it took 5 to 6 years and it's still bad, then you're left with the same scenario. This is what I think Take-Two is doing with Judas, Ken Levine's Judas. I think they are willing to give him enough time as long as the game is great. Because as long as the game is great, they have something to hang their hat on. They can ride the game for as long as they want because it's a great game. So if it takes as long and it delivers, then cool. But again, that's comes with the risk of anything. You always have the risk of it just not delivering. So I don't really. It's damned if you do, damned if you don't. Game development is a little bit different because the timing. There's been so many games that have taken years to make that have come out bad, or they've come out very good, like Dead Island 2. That took years to make. So it's all a risk, in my opinion. Like you gotta give it, and the publisher should know what game they're making so that it gives them enough time to actually put out the game. Like, again, I think a good example is Judas. Judas is like, give them as much time as they need, because if it hits like BioShock, we're win. It's a dub.
Okay. I can see that. Yeah, I get that. How about you, Asha? So what are your thoughts on it?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me. How's my sound?
No, that's good. That's good. That's good. I don't know if you heard my question earlier on.
Yeah, about Fable.
Yeah, but before that, Grim, long time no see, brother. It's fantastic. We're just talking games, some fun stuff here and there, a bit of Xbox and a bit of The Witcher and all these other talking points. But yeah, if you got any questions, please do let us know. I'll be chatting with you in the chat, of course. Looking forward to the he says looking forward to Exodus and The Expanse. Pretty much saving my money for these releases. Yeah, me too. The more I see Exodus, the more I'm actually more excited for it than The Expanse, actually. Because Exodus, I said in one of my videos, that Exodus feels more like Mass Effect, in terms of like abilities, special powers, situation. Which is pretty cool. I get more of a Mass Effect vibe from it, whereas it seems like The Expanse might be more like Mass Effect from a character interaction point of view. But yeah, I'm looking forward to both these games. Usher's fire away. What are your thoughts on Fable? Sorry, on Playground, being crowned as one of the ultimate devs, even though you could argue that Fable took them 10 years to make. Like, does that knock the shine off their title, the imaginary trophy? What are your thoughts?
I think this is something that we've talked about before.
Mhm.
I think my point last time we spoke about this was that, look, if you're making the company money, you could take 20 years to make a game. It doesn't matter, because the bottom line is, with most of these situations, it's all about what have you done for me lately, and Playground pays the bills, right? They're the only Xbox developer that has consistently released 9 out of 10 games that sell, that have gone on to do over 50 million players on all platforms in terms of combined numbers. Even Forza 4 did fantastic. I mean, if you go and look up, like, in terms of games that actually sold on Xbox, Forza 4 comes up in the top 5, I think, yeah. So these guys, they pay their bills, right? So they can afford, or you can afford to give them the benefit of the doubt in terms of taking that long to make the game. Whereas everybody else can't pay the bills. The Halo guys can't pay the bills. The Gears guys, when the last time they paid the bills at Xbox? So, if they need 10 years to make a game, it's fine. They make games almost every couple of years that make you money.
Yeah, so I'm gonna agree there as well. Overall, if you're paying the bills, it's fine. I think this question is not really should be directed at gamers as opposed to the corporations, right? Because if you're a corporal, um, one of your if you're a corporal, one of your your main looks should be, well, you're meant to invest in you, but you tell me you're gonna take 10 years to drop a game, a decade. Like my kid is 10 years old now; he's gonna be in college by the time your game
Yeah.
drops. So I think for like the business people, it's important. I don't think it's important for the platform holders as well, because if you let's say you're doing console war for argument's sake, um, Playground and Fable is a piece on the board of the console war. If you take away God of War, the PS4 is not as dominant, so it's a little bit less dominant. They take away the Last of Us as well, etc., etc. The more games you take away, the more pieces you lose. Obviously, in the same way you took away Halo and Gears of War, Xbox 360 and like, the original Xbox isn't as great. So I think if you're a co-op kind of person, I don't think, especially if you're trying to be extremely competitive in this space, you can't afford to have a studio taking 10 years to make a title, because in the within that 10 years the generation is done. It's finished. Like that piece was never used, and whatever you were there doing, taking your sweet time, your opponents were destroying you. They were taking advantage of you. So I think in that sense, at least from a from a platform holder point of view, I don't think it's healthy. I think you need to look at them a little bit differently and say we need somebody
So,
who can like drop something crazy in the next 5 years.
so my question to you is then, who's done that at Sony except for Insomniac?
In what sense? Like who's been able to do what?
Okay, maybe Santa Monica, who's been consistent in their releases, in the sense that you can actually say, okay, cool, you guys have been making us money, so we don't have to worry. Because if I look at, like, for instance, Sony's release cadence this entire generation,
Mm-hmm.
the only people that have actually delivered consistently has been Insomniac. You can say Santa Monica because they've got a new God of War game coming up and they've released another one. So at
Mm-hmm.
least they've got something. But a lot of their other devs have just done one game this entire generation. And like a lot of those one-off games are not like I mean, even like Ghost of Yote, it's not like meeting that benchmark of doing over 10 million to 20 million that PlayStation does. But it took like the whole generation. They're not probably gonna release any other games for PlayStation up until PlayStation 6, because it takes them about an average of like 6+ years to make a game, if not
We're
more.
talking about Santa Monica. We're talking about Naughty Dog.
I'm just talking about like Sony's first party. So I'm counting Naughty Dog. I'm saying Santa Monica did deliver, and Insomniac did deliver. Then Sucker Punch did one game, the entire generation, and the generation is almost over. So I'm not expecting them to deliver anything else. So I'm just saying that like these cycles are too long, man, for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So like if the like 10 years is not that long, dude, if the average game takes about 6 to 7 years.
That's a good point. The grim I was writing this down, I'll just say I've actually been reading the Exodus book as well. I'm 3/4 way through it, and it's very, very interesting. And I think it kind of gives a lot of potential and hope, and even lore, grounded lore to the game that's gonna come out. So I'm actually more excited for it. I put it down a little bit to finish off another book from S.A. Corey, the guy who did the Expanse actually. Called Mercy of Gods. It's a really good one, and I think Amazon's going to do a TV show on it. At least that's what I'm hearing. So yeah, I'd recommend Mercy of Gods to some extent because it's really good. There's 2 books now as well. But yeah, the Exodus book is dope. It's a great universe. I love the whole concept, and I think from a gaming perspective, it's adding something unique. Richie says the dude in charge of third-party deals. I'm not too sure what you mean, Richie. Are you talking about like the third person guy? If your game is taking too long, then the guy in charge of third party deals should be more active and kind of filling up that space. If that's what you're saying, I completely agree. Asha, to your point about it's not that long, So where I would probably differ here is that I was explaining this to a friend about Xbox and PlayStation and why they go back and forth. And I said, and a lot of our answers were very like chilled and timid and innovate, be a bit more creative. You don't have to like take chances. And I said, unfortunately, this is not a passive game or war. It's a very active war where like console war, right? Where you have the opponent is trying to destroy you. And I told her that like when I say destroy, what they're doing is they're going over to independent party members and they're telling these people that do not put your titles on their product. They're telling these people do not put their titles on their subscription service. And when they get the marketing deal, they do things like remove their logos and everything about them from these marketing deals. They're not trying to bring more users to their platform. What they're actually trying to do is destroy you. And every time they get a win, that money, that revenue compounds and allows them to further destroy you. You know, what did Phil Spencer say? The reason why they got Bethesda was because Sony was trying to take everything away from them. You're seeing Control is coming out right now. And what's happening? Early access, just exclusive to our device. They're trying to actively take you down. And I told her when that happens, what that means is you have to fight fire with fire. And if you're already in third place, you can't afford to have one of your titles take 10 years to come out. Because the only way you can maintain relevancy is you're bringing out better titles than them and you're bringing out more titles than them frequently. So in a like you can't make a mistake. They can because they're number one, but you can't. So 10 years unfortunately isn't good enough. If they're dropping their big titles in 6 years, which is Ghost of Yote, then yours has to come out in 6 years. And if a developer comes to you and says, it's going to take us 10 years to do this, your response should be no, because they're dropping Ghost of Yote in 6 years, and in the next 4 years, they're dropping Ratchet and Clank. That's two big games, and our response can't be one. So I think that's where I slightly differ. And I think the 10 years from a business perspective it's not a viable strategy.
Like, look, man, like nothing that Xbox does is a viable strategy, dude. Because on the other side, you're feeding the freaking fire by giving them Call of Duty. So like competitively, like nothing that they do makes sense from a console war perspective. Like the reason that PlayStation continues to thrive is because they allow it. It's one of those situations where they've put, and again, it's all got to do with the decisions that they've made to get them there. Like, for instance, if you're so concerned, if your primary thing is, listen, these guys are trying to put us out of business and they're limiting us the opportunities of being able to make games to compete, etc., etc. And the first thing that you do when you're in a position where you have the higher ground is give them all your games. Explain to me, like, like how that is better than, like, for instance, one dev taking too long to make a game when you are the ones funding them making Uncharted or the next God of War, what is it, Luffy, whatever. That money is coming from Microsoft. So like I don't know, man. Like, to me, nothing that Xbox does from a console war strategic perspective makes sense.
Mm-hmm. No, I get you, and I think you said it right there. You can't fight fire with fire when you're feeding the fire with gasoline. Call of Duty, etc., etc., etc. Grim says the quiet winner in terms of physical model in the Western gaming space is ArenaNet with the Guild Wars IP, PC only, but they're raking the money every year without expansion. That's something I'm gonna look into. I'm gonna give it a Google right there. Wait, well, actually, I do know Guild Wars. What am I talking about? Yeah, I do know of Guild Wars. Have you guys played it before?
Nah, I have not.
But you guys have heard of it, right?
I have it on Steam. I've
think
just
so.
Of
not
course you have
actually.
it. Yes, that makes sense.
The
Hardcore
thing is, like,
gamer.
yeah, like the problem is, like, I've never. Maybe I need a friend that plays MMOs, but
Oh
like
yeah, it's an
I've
MMO.
never.
Yeah,
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 it's an
yeah.
MMO. It's a
Mm,
pretty big
mm,
game, and the problem
yeah.
is, like, dude, it's like on season 100. Like,
What?
it's like it's
Oh
been
my
running
god!
forever, dude. So
It's like
where do you
those
start?
games you can't even catch up. It feels like.
Hmm. Rachel says that. How can I lazy around and collect paychecks if I make a game in 5 years? Richie going at Xbox there. Yeah, they do have a habit of taking their sweet time with these titles. Grim says as well, with an expansion cycle of one every year and a half or so. Yeah, that does seem like that's a pretty good legitimate
Mhm.
business strategy. One big game and expansions every now and then. What else did you say? Sorry. Luffy or Luffy. This is the God of War
Laufe.
game. Luffy.
Laufe.
Yeah, I saw the trailer, and I guess we're gonna talk about that a little bit more. Actually, I guess we can even jump into it right now. So Sony did a state of play. I wasn't crazy about it, but at the same time, I didn't watch it. But I did see the games that they were showing. I'm a little bit more excited for the Xbox showcase, to be honest. But in terms of the state of play, what do you guys think about it? And I guess the biggest game was Wolverine and God of War Luffy. I'll go to you first, Kenwell. What did you think about Sony's state of play, and what did you think of Wolverine and Luffy?
All right, so I'll start with my overall thoughts. I would give this show a B minus.
Mhm.
I felt the weakest parts of the show were the PlayStation first party games. Um, not that those games look particularly bad. I think that's just like untrue. But I think they're not looking at the big picture of their games, because the day before this, they're actually hold up. Overall, the show was a B minus, exactly for what I thought. I thought the weakest part was their first party games that were showing up. Also, they didn't have too many big surprises at the showcase, so it definitely felt a little bit more tamed in that regard. I really liked the Until Dawn too. I thought that was a good idea of continuing with that IP, because it's just one of those games. It reminds me of As Dusk Falls. It's a really good streaming game, something that presents well. So I thought it was a good idea, and it looks pretty interesting. I thought Ill looked really good, even though I'm not going to pick that up. I thought that was one of the best trailers. And then Control Resonant, Omnimusha, like the third party games were really my highlight of the showcase. But again, big picture wise, to go back to what I was originally saying, I think Sony is getting too comfortable with the first party games, and they're becoming too much alike each other, where they're just this linear, you're on a guardrail and you're just following through to get to the end. I think they're getting way too comfortable with those games. Again, I think you should have those games, but I don't think everybody should be trying to make those games. And I think this is evident with how they started and ended the showcase, because those games are very similar to each other, where if the story's bad, those games are pretty, they're going to get harsh criticism, even though we shouldn't really be looking at the story like that. We should be looking at the gameplay. But yeah, I think Sony needs to start looking at the big picture, because for the last 5 years, their first party games have declined in sales.
Would you say, like, which direction do you think they should kind of move into? Right, it's a very interesting question, because obviously they did the third party thing back in the PS4 generation, The Last of Us, Uncharted, and they really kind of, I don't want to say pioneered with it, like they kind of turned that into like their specialty in terms of game making. Do you think they need to start looking at different kind of genres, first party games, maybe live service games?
I think, again, I'm still not giving up. I think it would be stupid for them to give up the live service. I just don't think that's a good idea at all. You got to you got to make that work somehow, because you're those games, God of War Laufey, what is it going to cost? 500 million? If God of War Ragnarok was 250 million? and the profit margins are gonna the profit margins are just gonna get smaller and smaller. So you got to have a lot more revenue coming in. And I think when it comes to the first party games, this is why I will say I'm pretty excited for Naughty Dog's next game. They got to go back to the PlayStation 2 generation. They got to look at what Capcom is doing so well. They got to really they really got to model the best. And I think Capcom has been showing a lot of people that you can make smaller games that still hit. You just got to have something with these games. Like Pragmata was the hacking. It was something new. It was a new mechanic. That's how the 360 felt. Like I remember like Gears of War. Gears of War is like the cover shooting. That was new that felt new at the time. You would have smaller games like Bulletstorm, where the signature gameplay was the whip. So there's got to be some type of new gameplay mechanic that you're experimenting and you're trying, and this is what the game is trying to do. I think Sony should go back to, again, a little bit of smaller games, but they can't box themselves in. I love these cinematic games, but not every studio should be trying to make a cinematic game like this.
I think to even like add to your point, Graham brought up how Crimson Desert's like struck a chord, and it kind of reminds me of Pragmata, like in a sense, because what that game did was, it has the same typical, it's a third person action adventure game, but hey, we're gonna create a new type of aesthetic, and guess what? We're gonna add something new that changes the gameplay, which is the hacking thing. And for Crimson Desert, why it didn't really do anything different like that. One of the things I always pointed out to it that like I think it did really well was this the gameplay. It looked fun. Like I always say, in comparison to Assassin's Creed, they can be the same in terms of structure, mission structure, etc. In fact, Assassin's Creed probably has a way better story or whatever it is. But I remember just seeing the RKO from the Crimson Desert guy, all this like lifting it up in the sky and just dropping down. Like that looked fun. Like I'm not gonna lie, it looked pretty fun. Now I don't want that in Assassin's Creed per se, but like it looked really interesting. So I think you gotta do a good job of separating yourself. And maybe the new God of War laugh game, as you say, like it probably just feels too much like a spin-off. And it's like
it was an expansion. It was an expansion, and Sony's getting ridiculous with this woman protagonist. I'll say that. That's what I'm saying. And just too much of the same. They're all just becoming the same. They're ugly. They're not ugly, but they're just not good looking. Like they just fight in the male gaze, dude. Like Jean Grey looked terrible, dude. Terrible. She's a girl I would see at Target. It's like that's not the point of them. I thought they like. All right, I'll just let Oshus go.
Yeah, Oshus is gonna go because he is the shit. No, but actually, before Oshus goes, Wolverine. What did you think about that?
This is me? Or
Wolverine. Yeah.
Oh, Wolverine. I thought like Wolverine was just like I was telling people, I'm like, doesn't it look like Spider-Man? Like, when Spider-Man was like the Spider-Man 2 showcase, and Miles Morales is going through like he's doing the stealth segment. It's like, do you really need to do stealth with Spider-Man? Like, the thrift store. It's like, do you really need to do stealth with Spider-Man? That's how I felt with this Wolverine. It was like, yeah, we're gonna show off the stealth gameplay, but then we're gonna go straight into the action. And it's like, yeah, like it just seems limited in terms of what they can do with this game. I like it. I'm gonna be there. I want something that is like McDonald's, like just that fast food, that junk food that you want. But you got to be careful with that when you're just putting more out, where it's you're gonna get exposed pretty soon. That's how I felt with Wolverine. Like I like what I'm seeing. Like I'm a big fan of Wolverine. I like superheroes, but it just seems like, okay, I know where this game is gonna go. Personally, for me, if the story isn't good, then I'm not gonna really like this game. And that's how I felt with Spider-Man 2. I didn't like the story for Spider-Man 2, so I didn't really like it as much as Spider-Man 1.
Okay. Grim says, well optimized custom engine, addictive play loop, multiple console and PC accessible points. The fun excuses the lack of shortness of the writing, which I think is very
Yeah.
it kind of just sums up Crimson Desert in a whole. They did turn down a exclusive potential deal with PlayStation because they wanted to prioritize the accessibility point, as Grim says, and I think that is important, especially when you have a new IP. I couldn't for the life of me understand why Stellar Blade was an exclusive,
Yeah.
especially when Shift Up. They don't. When people try to make it like, oh, they need. They don't. They didn't need it. That's a lie. Like these guys like have a lot of money.
That's why they're going multi-platform with the next one.
Yeah, because they know like yeah, that was a bad call on our part.
Yeah.
Like it just doesn't make sense whatsoever. But yeah, Pearl Abyss was one to watch. If you had some stocks in there, you're probably very happy now because that's kind of shut up well. It's one of those few games that like has released and kind of had like a negative point, and out of nowhere, it just kind of like skyrocketed up. Everyone's really happy with it. But yeah, no, definitely, I agree with that. So, Ashus, you watched the state of play as well. You had Wolverine, you had God of War, you had different titles. First of all, what did you think of the state of play? Excuse me. And second of all, what did you think of Wolverine?
So I think Sony's in the right path. What I mean by that, I just think they should just keep doing what they're doing. They just need another 2 live services that cost around 100 to 200 million, and they just need to find another franchise where they can force a female protagonist into that. I don't know, like I was just thinking, which protagonists have they not replaced yet? And I'm thinking they should do that. Like I you know what? Xbox failed to take Sony down, and I think Sony's actually doing a far better job than Xbox ever could. Like I just like I said this to you before the showcase started. I said I have a feeling that like Sony gets it. Like after that financial, I think one of the executives came out and said, "Guys, we understand that software is what makes us, like us selling games and having great software is important, and we're gonna focus on that." I was like, "Whoa, okay, maybe they get it that their audience is starting to sort of like see through the veil and be like, whoa, but you guys haven't done much for us lately. We keep supporting you, but you haven't done much for us lately." And I thought they were getting that message. And when they did the theater thing and they said it will be the biggest state of play in a while or whatever, or forever or whatever, I thought they got it. And then I watched that show and I was like, oh shit, these guys actually don't have a plan here. If they actually had competition, they would be sitting dead in the water. They would be fucked. Pardon my language. Like, I was like, I watched that. It was like watching a car crash. I was like, oh no. When Wolverine played and I watched, like, I was like one way, like almost a third to halfway through the trailer, I was like, this can't be the best that Sony has to offer that is supposed to have the same sort of impact that, say, Spider-Man had. Because there were so many things, and I'm gonna get into the Wolverine thing first because it was the first trailer out. I watched that first trailer and I said, surely this can't be the flagship thing for this show, simply because of just how Sony's known for their super awesome graphically looking games, and just this scene here. This guy's gonna walk a couple of links forward and the blood is gonna disappear off his fucking yellow costume. They put him in a yellow costume where the blood disappears for no reason. Look at that. It just disappears. There's no reason why the blood goes away. And I'm like, this is the so-called movie AAA, quadruple A studios that everybody praises for having the best, single player games. And all this entire exchange is the same generic enemies. Him just mowing the same generic enemies down with the same basic move. No dismemberments. Nothing that sort of puts this game apart in any sort of way. And then that's when I was like, oh no, these guys are cooked. If there was any competition, there's nothing that they could do to maneuver out of it.
I have a defense for this game per se, but not as relevant now. But yeah, no, carry on. So you
Yeah,
didn't think
so
the state of play was good. You didn't think you don't think the
this was
game itself is
ass, man.
good.
This was proper baked ass. Like this is the worst fucking showcase I've seen in a minute. Like in terms of like this is supposed to be like so. This is like where the generation is supposed to be, if not 70% through. We're supposed to be in the last legs of the generation, and this is the best that Sony has to offer. It just there's nothing about this game that says to me these are the same guys that made Uncharted 4. And I don't mean like I don't mean Insomniac. I mean as like Sony as a publisher. Like there's what about this game stood out? Nothing. Like this is just another Marvel game. Like this could be one of those. In fact, I would go as far back as saying like Wolverine Origins looked better when it was shown off the first time than this game.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of mechanically and the things that Wolverine can do. So yeah, so that to me was what sealed the whole fate to me. I just realized that these guys are just they on the road to sort of just commit. Yeah, they're going to self delete at this point.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't have it, dude. There's nothing that Sony has. Like I don't see anyone else coming out and impressing. If even Insomniac cannot do anything for Sony at this point in time.
Let me catch up on this chat. Rachie says Sony PlayStation 4 games look amazing. But I think he said something more than that. Let me say Sony PlayStation 4 games look amazing, but I believe other engines did catch up. This is why Sony doesn't feel special anymore. Del Grim says, I wonder if Xbox is going to be banking heavily on the investment in Bethesda. PlayStation should be focusing on decoupling from the Western developers and creation processes. The Bethesda one is it's so interesting because if Xbox had to invest in any, like publisher, studios, ABK, whatever it is, it would be Bethesda. With the IPs they have, with Elder Scrolls, Fallout, that will give you the biggest bang for your money. So, and even if you think about it, like the studio that did Elder Scrolls Online, like that game has a lot of players. Like those are studios that you want to leverage for sure. So, no, I completely agree. I think Bethesda is like a huge one to do well with. With Sony decoupling from the Western studios, I think Sony has the Japanese studios on lockdown, to be honest. So I think they almost see it as like the Japanese guys ain't gonna go anywhere because where are you gonna go to Xbox or to Nintendo? But then that's the problem. I think they might start going to Nintendo, but because everyone's kind of in this publisher mindset now of let's put the games everywhere, I don't think you're really gonna be seeing too many crazy exclusives as much. I think Sony is probably feeling very comfortable. Ken, I don't know if I really asked you, like, because we're watching, the Wolverine gameplay trailer now. I mean, do you share some of your thoughts with Ushers? Because I do have some pushback on things he said, but I kind of at the same time overall get it. But I also feel like this might be kind of similar to what we were saying earlier, that like when we say Sony needs to kind of change things up a little bit, I'll put it to you guys. Maybe, do you think by watching Wolverine that like this is a change up for Sony in terms of, because like I'll tell you what I'm seeing right here, and you guys can tell me if you agree or disagree. This game isn't focusing on high fidelity graphics like The Last of Us. What it's focusing on is just pure action combat. And it's just him. Like he was running, jumping, attacking, and it's very like it seems like it's a very high thrilling game where it's just pure action. Like this is just pure action right now. What they've decided to make is a very movie-like game. Like dumb fun, Fast and Furious. And I think one argument you could make is like, well, the characters look generic, but is that them saying, yeah, because from a resource point of view, the question is, what do people want when they play a Wolverine game or even a Spider-Man game? They don't want amazing graphics. When you play a Spider-Man game, you want animations that allows you to swing around the city and feel like Spider-Man. And when you play Wolverine, you want to feel like a badass. And because this graphics ain't great, but they're looking at this saying like, yeah, but why would we waste the resources on like Last of Us like graphics when that's not what you guys want? You guys just want to kill people and do shit. Anyways, those are some of my thoughts. Like, what are your thoughts on this?
I just feel I just feel that this is what I'm saying. My complaint is I just know where this game. I know this game before playing the game. Like I don't need to see another trailer from this game at all. I'm just ready for it to come out and play because there's no gameplay, no new gameplay mechanic. There's nothing that with this new showcase, there is nothing that needs to be revealed about this game, strictly gameplay wise, that we're not gonna see coming. Like, what can they do that goes like, whoa, this changes everything with how we play this game? Everything that's gonna be revealed is gonna be story related. And again, I get it, but I just feel like not every game needs to be this cinematic action linear game. Well, for the most part, I would say they just don't need to be this action cinematic thing. Like I don't believe in this whole Marvel IP thing anymore for Insomniac. I think they need to get rid of it. Even though if you saw in the leaks, they plan to do an X-Men game, because in this game, they make it clear that the X-Men don't exist, that they confirm that. So
silly.
Which is, it's like, okay, so you're going to build up to an X-Men game. I don't really think that's a good idea, because it's just going to be, again, what we've been seeing. Like, there's just nothing I could see from this gameplay trailer that is going to surprise me of this game that is not related to the story. The story is going to have surprises of who's going to show up. But in the gameplay, like, what is he going to have some, like, are they going to introduce, like, some type of new sniff mechanic? Like, no, we saw him sniffing, and it was a purely cinematic thing. Like, you're not even playing as Wolverine. So I just don't see what's going to be new with this game, except for high octane action, like you're saying. And again, I'm a sucker for that. I'm complaining, and I'm the one who's going to be buying this stuff. But I'm just thinking big picture, like with a lot of people, this shit is going to run thin if they keep doing the same thing. And this showcase showed that they don't really care. They're just going to keep doing the same thing. They're not really keeping their ears to the ground when it comes to this.
Yeah.
Real quick, Rachel says exclusively not on Xbox is the new hot trend. That games especially did better when they were focused on making games for Japanese markets and selling it globally. I responded and said that Persona 5 was one of my favorite games on the PlayStation 4. And Reichi says he bought a PS4 just for Persona. And Dalgrim says Persona is a great series. Yo, listen, Persona is such an amazing game. Like it's such an amazing game. Like Asha, I'm not gonna recommend it to you because I know you're gonna hate it. So there's no even point in me telling you to play it.
I've played all the Persona games. I mean,
You played Persona?
Unlike you freaking tourists, I actually played Persona 5 on PS3. Like, all of you all jumped on Persona 5 only on PS4? Really? Bunch of tourists.
Yo, so
Like,
wait,
honestly,
wait, hold on a second. Did you finish it though?
No, I never finished.
Well, you're a tourist then. What the hell are you talking about? You just visited.
No, just like, dude, like, the thing is, by the time I played Persona 5, there was just like, I just didn't spend that much time on PS3 anymore.
No, listen, forget about PS3. I'm just trolling you because I spent like 120 hours in that game. Like, it's the hours I spent was ridiculous.
I'll say this, like, by the time I played Persona, dude, I was sort of over Japanese games. Like, there's just like the Japanese games, just like, I don't know, dude. Like, for me, the tropes they just don't work for me anymore. So I was at that age where I had matured out of, like, you know, anime type things. And Persona is very much a Japanese tropey game with all those senpai and all that type of stuff. Like, I was over that stuff. That's why I actually never really finished it. But I love Persona 4. It's one of my favorite games on PS2 of all time. Like, it was really, really good. I really enjoyed it.
Well, if you're a Persona fan, I would say no spoilers, but look out for the showcase, the Xbox showcase. But let's move on to a topic. It's gonna be a quick hit.
Wait, you didn't ask me what I thought about the whole showcase. I didn't finish my spiel.
Oh yeah, please finish up. What did you think about the whole showcase?
No, the showcase, as I said, is like a 4 out of 10, dude. Like, I mean, I'll I think the best description of how I felt about the showcase is Jaffe responding to the announcement of God of War, God of War Laundry. That's exactly how I felt about that show. It's like Sony should have done better than this, dude. Like, and again, what's gonna suck is that Xbox is gonna have a better show, but that's gonna mean nothing for Xbox owners, Xbox fans, because everything is just gonna be third party anyway. But overall, I'm 100% sure they're going to have such a superior show to what Sony showed.
Oh, for sure, 100%. Like I think they're gonna, like I've said this a few times. Yeah, Xbox. I prefer Sony's games like overall, for different reasons. But I always say like Xbox has the highest ceiling because the games can just like Clockwork can be an amazing title that is up there with BioShock, or maybe not, right? State of Decay could be the next Last of Us MMO like game. Maybe not. Maybe it'd be trash. Fable could be the next biggest RPG, or it could just be okay, like Avowed and Outer Worlds 2. Like you just don't know with these guys. You know, they're very inconsistent. In this
You
sense.
see, that's what I mean. It's the unknown. You
Mm-hmm.
know what you're gonna get from Wolverine. You know what you're gonna get from God of War Lao Fei.
Yeah.
And like before we go on, I just want to say like with Lao Fei, I'm not gonna say like I'm a God of War expert or anything. Like the first God of War I played was 2018, but from understanding what people's problems are with it, it's very valid. I liked 2018 and I liked God of War Ragnarok, but I didn't want more of those two games. So with them coming out with Lao Fei, I'm like, first of all, it's just not doing it for me. When I saw the leak, I was like, you're doing a God of War game that's a spinoff, and it's Kratos' wife, who we just saw in Ragnarok. Like, we just saw this character. Why would I give a fuck about Lao Fei?
Do you know what I think it's like? So somebody said this about God of War, and they were like, maybe it could have been Destin. He said that, oh, you know, she's gonna. No, I don't think it was this. I think it was like a PC mag or whatever. It's like, oh, she's going to do her own thing, and then they're going to meet up as a family, and then the next game, they'll all be, you know, you can play as three of them, maybe even a multiplayer kind of game, right?
God,
that sounds so corny, bro.
that sounds like some CW shit.
Like, why? Like, that's not
Team
what God of War
Kratos
is supposed to be, dude. Like
that's what I'm saying. Like, Asha, like, am I right with this? Like, why would you want to play as Lao Fei, Kratos' wife, that you just fucking met?
I just, like, for me, I just don't understand how you can take a bloodthirsty, a berserker hero, like that's literally like what is the inspiration of a character like this here, like this Wolverine that we're watching, and then you turn it into this. First, you turn him into a sad dad, and you limit the gameplay. You change the camera angle, and okay, fine, I get it. A lot of people went for that, and then you do that a second time, and people are saying, "Yeah, well, we're not too hot on this now." And then you say, "You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna give you more of the same, and I'm gonna take away more of the stuff that you like, and give you more of the stuff that you don't like." The fact that the God of War in that game, just like from a presentation perspective, the poster. If I removed the words God of War from that game, would you be able to tell that's a God of War game? If you just saw that Lao Fei and you saw that chick standing there, would you be able to tell me that that's a God of War game? Or if I gave you PlayStation names, for instance, I said, what do you think this is? Is this a Horizon Zero Dawn game? Is this a Last of Us 2 game? Sorry, a Last of Us game? Or is this a God of War game? I promise you, the last thing that you would think is that that's a God of War game if the God of War logo was not there.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like the goofiness with the cube. Did they ever do some shit like that in the original trilogy?
No.
The goofy.
Nothing.
The fucking cube. I'm like, dude, this is crazy, bro.
I sent the because I saw the AI stuff and I was like, oh, you guys are assholes, and I sent the and I sent it to like one of my friends, and she hated it, but she couldn't stop laughing a little bit as well. Just kind of like, I hate fucking AI. The cube stuff has brought some kind of comedic elements to it, yeah. But I have some quotes here from from what David Jaffe says, who's the original creator, and just to sum it up, he said that he called the game uninspired, dull, looks like shit. Comparing his visuals to Forspoken.
He doesn't give a fuck.
And he said that like it's a generic fantasy game rather than a God of War game. It's missing the gore, the violence, and the raw edge that made the originals. And he predicts that it's going to commercially underperform. He quotes, "It's dead. The game is not going to do well for what they expect it to do." He noted that the lack of Kratos as the focus, whimsical elements like a talking cube companion, as you said, Kenwal, and said it doesn't capture the franchise's identity. He said that the combat looked solid, but overall dismissed it as repetitive and poorly branded as a God of War title. He said, "This is not God of War. I don't know what the fuck this is."
Yo.
Ken, do you agree with what he's saying?
Bro, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, yes, I didn't play God of War, the original trilogy, but I wasn't living under a rock. I saw the games, what they were like. And then that was partially what, like, when I first saw God of War 2018, it was when I just had the PlayStation 4 and I had no games on it. And so I saw this part where Kratos, he grabs like one of those witch-like enemies, and he's just punching the shit out of her. And it's just bloody. I'm like, yo, this is what I remember from the original games. So I'm like, all right, bet. That was what convinced me to get 2018. This shit is just like, again, you're doing this is what I'm talking about. More of the same. So if this is indeed the opening of the game, God of War 2018, we all remember the Baldur, like the beginning of that game. Then in God of War Ragnarok, beat by beat, someone did a comparison. They did the same intro. They did the exact same intro. And I'm like, wait, you're telling me you're gonna do the same intro again for this chick? Like, that makes zero sense. You're just like, it's like there's a point where you cannot just give fans exactly what they want. You know what I mean? Like, you cannot just go like, all right, the intro is working. Let's keep doing it. Let's just keep doing it. Fuck it. And that's how I felt with Lao Fei. I'm like, okay, we're getting introduced to new gods. Why? I didn't think this was a universe of gods. Nobody likes the Norse mythology, I thought. Like, I don't like Norse. It's just, all right, let me calm down. But I will say, it's like, dude, it's just white people, bro. Let's keep it about, like, can we go to Egypt? And like, let me just say this. Sekhmet, did you see that girl's nose?
But wait, hold on, wait. We are going to go to Egypt, though.
No, we're not. No, we're not. Not really.
Nah,
we're not going to Egypt.
The mainline game, I think, is going to go to Egypt. I think this
But
game
this is
right
the mainline
here.
game, dude.
This is a mainline game.
This is not a.
No, it's not a mainline game.
No, this is a mainline game.
Yeah, they said.
They announced that this is not a spin-off. This is a mainline game.
It's a continuation. It's basically a continuation.
It is the third game in the trilogy, the whatchamacallit, the Norseman trilogy.
This is a third game in the trilogy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Huh.
They're not making this as a spin-off, or this is the game. They spent 6 to 7 years making this game. This is the mainline release for God of War, this trilogy, this Norse mythology trilogy of theirs.
I guess my question is, I don't know. It feels like I kind of felt like the fans are ready to move on to a different location. And I guess my next question would be, I don't know how popular these characters are because I'm not as familiar with them. But I know that the kid, I know the son isn't popular, and I know a lot of feedback was all like, "Nah, we don't want to play as him." But I don't think anybody imagined to be playing as Faye as well.
Yeah,
Um, I don't know.
because we just met her.
It is an interesting choice in the sense that I, I was under the impression that the fans wanted a new game in a different timeline, like Egypt or maybe even the Aztecs, like the different gods. But it seems like what they're doing is they're focusing back on the same thing, Norse mythology, which kind of caught me by surprise. And to be honest, so I guess like listen, I'm not interested in this game at all. In fact, I think I just say it straight up that like the first 2018 one, I got it, didn't finish it. The next one, Ragnarok, at that time I was kind of like losing interest in the IP, to be honest. And with this one, the IP is like I'm just done with it. Like there's nothing here that I've seen that has said, "Oh, I want to play this game." And I'm sure it could be good, but I guess the question, if this is a mainline game and it's taking like whatever 5 to 6 years, I think I'm
Six
kind of with
years
Jaffe
plus.
that this would not. If it was an
Yeah,
expansion or something like, yeah, okay, sure, whatever. But if this is a mainline game,
Look at this. What the freaking? This is. Oh my god. Like, how is this a God of War game, dude? Like, oh jeez.
like if it's a mainline game, I guess I'm just. I guess the question here that I could put is like, were they when making this game? So there's two ways to do this here. You can expand an audience by doing things differently, like by making it maybe less gory, right? Because you want to attract a bit more different types of people. You can change the protagonist with different types of characteristics, and you can make the game faster, or like there's many things you can do to kind of grab different audiences. The double jump as well. I guess my question here is like, you guys don't believe then that they were actually targeting the original God of War fans with this game,
No.
or do you think you're targeting a
no,
new type of people?
No, dude.
no.
Like,
I
this
don't
is the.
even know what they're
No.
doing at this point. I
Like,
don't, because
exactly.
like the new people are the old people. Like I think the old God of War fans still played 2018 and Ragnarok.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like I don't think they just dropped off. It's just they
Yeah.
played it and they were like, this was cool, but we want a better version of the
Correct.
original.
Which is
And
what
I'm
we
like,
thought we were gonna get.
yeah, which is
with,
what you thought you were gonna get, and then it's like
Mm.
it's like this is the equivalent of Assassin's Creed fighting so hard to go to Japan, and then because they did all that shit in between, when they go to Japan, but for God of War, when they go to Egypt, it's gonna be too late.
Yeah.
It's like
I
you
want to
could've-
say, I see what Jaffe's saying with the combat. The combat does look like it looks faster. I think it looks interesting, and we can even pivot to Hellblade to like just real quick on this as well. But I think that they got the combat right. I think it looks good. I do wonder if, in the same way Kratos' combat was unique because he had the axe and he can throw it. I wonder if like they need something more. No, like I guess that thing more is the cube. So I haven't seen the cube yet, right? I'm not gonna lie. Like, what does the cube do? Is it like a box that fights for you?
But my thing is like,
It
dude,
looks
what
like
has that got
Atreus.
to do with God of War?
Hmm.
Like none of this. Like, first of all, that scene that you just watched, where was the goal? The enemies
Yeah.
were spitting fairy dust. Like when you hit them, they freaking like, and then you have a cute cuddly friend. We're
pollen.
going on a nice adventure.
Do you think?
And then we have a
so,
cube.
so this is a question that, do you think this, like, because obviously I know a lot of people are talking about her being a woman, blah blah blah, this kind of stuff, yeah. But do you think that they don't? Do you like? I'm just talking about the side now, right? Do you think that they kind of bring it on themselves in the sense that their people's critique is like, because some people's critique might be like, we don't have an issue with any like maybe wokey stuff, like different types of people, whatever it is. But the problem is you don't incorporate these types of people into the actual universe themselves. You change the universe to fit these people, and then what that then causes is a distrust. So, for example, you guys are saying right now, like, Where's the gore? Where's the violence? What is this cube? What's this Teddy doing there? And then they're like, why would this change? And then people see, oh, what? There's a woman here. So now we're drawing a correlation that like, but it's changing because you're trying to target a different audience. This is the problem. If you had a different gender, whatever it is, you can put whatever thing you want here. But as long as you maintain the core of the universe, then we all good, bro. Like, Asha, would you say that's a fair assessment, or would you say it's a little bit more than that?
No, that's a very fair assessment because that's what they do. Is they like it's the like for me, Taya, this started with 2018. The changes that we're making to Kratos in 2018, it made me like cringe a little bit because of the fact that like it just felt like, oh, okay, I'm the creator of God of War. I have a kid, and now I feel that I should be making games that talk more about being a responsible parent. I'm like, okay, but I get that that's where you are in life, but then does that talk to the character of Kratos that you guys created as this just mad, badass, just killing machine? Who, mind you, had a family in the first game that he killed by accident. He murdered by accident. So now you turn him into this empathetic, sad dad that's trying to be a good person. I was like, this is not the same character. You should have just made a different game. You're not giving me the same character. So they changed the character to they changed the world, to your point, to fit the new character that they're making. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. No. You're good. I wanted to talk about Grimm, and I think this is perfect. This is what I don't get. Honestly, I suspect the audience they're going for is what they think is the female side of God of War's audience. And this is where I understand nobody is saying here, all three of us are not saying here the typical we don't want women shit. Nobody is saying that. But it's weird to me that Sony, the data analytics people, are not understanding the data. When I talk to most girls and when I talk to, like, when I see on the internet, I don't see girls playing single player adventure games. I see them playing Mario Kart, Zelda, Overwatch. I'm not saying they don't play it, but the majority is definitely not women who are playing single player adventure games. Would you guys agree?
Yeah, I agree.
So it's like
what I'll say, Kennel, is that like with Sony's games, right? I had a colleague who was he was like a casual gamer type of guy, and he was obsessed with Sony's games because he could play them with his wife. And he's the first, like, oh, he was obsessed with Horizon. He was obsessed with Uncharted. He loved those movie type games because while he's playing them, the wife enjoyed watching them. And I think a lot of Sony's fans did that, and Sony in the PS4 era jumped onto that and say, oh, okay. So this is why the games, everybody says, is like the joke about this game, the main joke aside the whole, laughy thing, is the fact that the game is literally R2. You can play the game. The entire sort of like first part of the game is just you pressing R2 with with cutscenes. So I get why a lot of people who play these games with their wives, with their kids or whatever would like this thing. So there's that element. I would acknowledge that. But I don't think that is your overall core though.
Yeah, which is what I'm saying. It's like I just feel like you should just do the simplest thing is just appeal to your fan base. Because this is not... And again, that doesn't mean not having a woman, but it's like, don't make them ugly. You don't always have to make them grounded. Not ugly, but you don't always have to make them grounded. Like some Last of Us type shit. But it's like Intergalactic. The girl is not that good looking. Yeah. Another one. It's like like at this point, you're just fighting it. It's like, yeah, we should do this. No, why not? Because we don't want to do it. We don't want to appeal them. Yeah. We know what's gonna do. Well, what that's gonna do. So that's just how I feel. It's like with this game, it just didn't. This looked like Ragnarok. This looked exactly like what we were getting, and it's like, wait, so you guys really weren't listening to anybody's complaints? when it was
I think,
valid.
I think you guys might be surprised how many maybe women actually might play these games.
I don't
But
think so, dude.
I
but
don't think so, dude. Yeah,
Nah,
I don't.
girls don't give a crap about this.
They don't.
Like,
Like
I
I
watch
said,
a
they like.
lot of.
no, I think you guys might be
I
surprised.
don't
Look,
know,
I'm not saying they
Ty.
play like a high percentage, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's a larger audience of them playing it. They're just not as active, maybe online potentially in these kind of, like, for example, Usher's, like, till this day you're like, how is Horizon Zero Dawn or Forbidden West selling? Like, who's buying these games? But then Sony's are like, oh, 20 million sales. I'm just like, how, who's buying these things?
But it's still
God of War
dudes.
could be low key like that, in the sense that, like, there's these people who are actually buying it, who are the target demographic. So, like, to Doug Grimm's point, when he says, like, he thinks that's what they're targeting, I wouldn't be surprised if that is what, I mean. No, I agree with him. That is what they're targeting. I don't know if I don't. Here's a better question. Okay, if I'm just guessing right now without even thinking too hard about this, I would say there's two games being made right now, and one of them is this God of War Laffy, whatever it's called, and the other one is actually the one with Kratos in. And I think this is Santa Monica trying to, using this game to expand their audience, to try to grab more females to join. And what I would say here is that if you think about it, does it make sense to have a female character like this in the gory world where, oh, that's the cube. Okay, now I see. Oh, it's like jelly. Oh, okay, I get it now. okay, I get it. And maybe it makes sense for them to go full on in and do this, rather than like trying to, like, please both parties. So
But,
maybe
like,
I understand this from this point of view.
But
If you're telling me though that this is a mainline game, this is where I have an issue. If you told me it was like a side story, an expansion, and it took 3 years to make, oh sure. But this is like the actual mainline game. I think I agree with Jaffe that I don't think it's gonna perform what they think it is.
But again, like, do you think that there's a huge majority of console owners that are girls that you should be targeting? These are not movies. These are console gamers. Most of those people are dudes anyway. So how are you targeting girls through a console game? There's no correlation there, Ty. Like, it's not like there's a significant amount of the console audience that's girls that you're not tapping into. Consoles are mostly, I would go as far as saying, generally considered where guys game. And I would say it's you're looking at an average of over 60 to 70%. So why would you try and court girls with a console game?
And especially if they're just watching it as a bystander.
Exactly. Because again, it's not the girl that owns the console, it's the dude.
Do you know why?
Why?
The TV show.
Man, get that TV show, bro.
No,
bro.
If you think about it, like, it actually makes more sense now. I don't know why you boys are laughing. It makes so much more sense now.
Nah, bro.
Like, if The Last of Us, the main audience, I mean, I wanted the main audience, but like everyone I know who watched The Last of Us are like females primarily. Like, that's just like what it is. And if you want to bring out God of War, and you want Kratos to be the guy, and Ken Wall's gonna watch it, Doug Grimm's gonna watch it, Usher's gonna watch it, and then you're like, yo, how do we get the other audience to come through? Yo, let's drop the game first of the girl with some cute stuff, so then they can then understand what it is, and then when they watch a TV show or whatever it is, the ones who, for example, I know many people who, like, I mean, I don't know if you guys saw the data, but when the Last of Us TV show came out, the game sales went up, and females were buying the games, right? So maybe, like, yo, they might not want to play, they might watch a TV show, but they might not want to play as Kratos, who's this big, bulky, strong man. But you got this lady over here that might be something that they might connect with more. Like, to me, that makes a bit more sense to me now.
But girls, I just don't see it, bro. Like, when I talk to most girls, they bring up Mario, they bring up Candy Crush,
They play
like most girls don't like gore like
mixtape.
Yeah.
That's what those are like primarily like if you go on Twitch, like they get psyched. You know which game was made for girls or a game that's targeted at girls that was at the showcase that I get why women or why you would target that at girls is Until Dawn.
That I was just about to say that. I was showing my girl that. She was like, "Oh, I would really like to play this game." And then I showed her Ill, and she was like, nah.
Though Grim says Santa Monica would have done more to bring women to a game like this if they had done a better job of rendering the player character model closer to the actual actress that voiced and mocapped her.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say this. I agree. I look at the character model and I'm like, this person kind of looks a bit weird. Like there's a weird uncanny look that I don't think they really executed really well about the character. And even the facial animation, I'm just kind of like, why? Like who did this? Like, you know, sometimes I look at these games and I'm like, who's making these decisions? Like I feel like somebody's like intentionally saying like, yeah, I'm gonna fuck this up on purpose. Like why? Like who is this like troll with
you
on the PC who's making these
you ain't never getting a bad bitch.
Because I'm just kind of confused because I'm like I even remember seeing like the first God of War character, like the one that the girl that Kratos was talking to. I kind of thought that was maybe his girl or something like that. Then I saw this character and I was kind of like, wait, why does she look like this? Like, did they make a mistake with the animations? And then obviously there's some angles where like it looks okay, and some angles where it doesn't look okay. Yeah, it's a bit of a weird one, to be honest with you. Like, but the combat does look. I think the combat looks interesting, but I think it also kind of looks dull though, like the environment.
I don't know, man. I think the presentation's good. It's just like you said, it just got expansion energy. Like it's just like this is just expansion energy, bro. Like that's I think it looks fun. It looks fun to play as her. That's just me. But it's just like I said, I'm a sucker for these games. Like I really like the sequence with her and the dude fighting. But again, I'm just looking at this long picture and I'm like, I wouldn't have done this. Yeah. Again, I would have just done, let's pivot. Let's just have Kratos go to Egypt. Fuck it. And he's back to Kratos. Like he's just back to being Kratos.
Do you know what I would have go on, Nauseous?
So to Tyre's point, the cube is played by a famous actor. So Tyre actually has a point when he says this thing is he has a point when he says this thing is actually being made for a female audience that will potentially watch the show. Because there's no reason for fucking Huey from The Boys to be voicing that freaking cube. Like it makes no like this is one game that just made no sense to me. Like I was trying to understand. I got so confused when I watched this. Like I was like, what is going on here? Like you've removed all the God of War things from the God of War game. There's no gore. There's no and Corey, mind you, is responsible for the gore and the dismemberments and all those things when it comes to God of War, the franchise going back to the first game. Whereas the narrative stuff was more Jaffe and the direction of the game was more Jaffe. So they were the ones that did all the cool kills and whatever. There's none of that here.
No,
this is a very PG fight. Like, there's nothing about this fight that tells you this is a God of War fight. So I believe you, Taya, when you say that. The one other thing, the one other observation I just made about this is that, do you think this is a game that would not run on a PS4?
No, this would, yeah. Yeah, this would.
Yeah, like it's just this is Baldur Thor 3.0.
Yeah, exactly.
This is 3.0. It's like it's cool. Like I said, it's cool, but it's like so you did the same thing.
But wait, this game don't, man, like this game budget, it can't be similar to Ragnarok. Like I'm looking at this game, I'm like, nah. I think the cutscenes and animation, that kind of stuff can work, but the game just doesn't look like it costs that much to make. It has very expansion kind of energy.
Yeah.
Um,
There's just nothing
so
new to it.
I get what Jaffe is saying, that like, it's gonna underperform if. Wait, is Cory Barlog the one who's making this game?
No.
Who's
He's just
making
the
it?
head of creative. We all thought this was going to be his game.
It's the lady.
Oh, oh man, no, no, don't do that.
It's bad. Like they're Sony's losing it. That this is
Again, there's nothing wrong. You know what I hate about this is that, like, there's nothing wrong with a lady. Like, there's a lot of talented females that can make awesome stuff.
Exactly.
And you know, one of my favorite, most underrated movies came out during COVID called The Hunt. And whenever I watch The Hunt, and I've watched The Hunt several times, it's a very interesting, quirky movie for that time. But the female protagonist in that movie is so well written. And it's her show from the beginning of the movie up until she's so well written. And I was like, why is it that no one else can write female protagonists like this? She's so well, and again, it's at the end of the day, there's even the boss fight is against Hilary Swank, which is another a female actress or actress that plays very strong female characters. But even her villain character is so well written, and I'm like, why can't anyone else in Hollywood write female characters like this if they're trying to write a badass female character? I encourage everybody to please go to Netflix. It's there. I forgot the actress's name. She's fantastic. She was in Glow. She was the blonde in Glow. It's amazing. It's one of the best action movies starring a female lead I've seen.
I'll look into it. The Grim gave us some titles that do well with the female gender, and it said Tomb Raider as a bit of an outlier, Myst, Assassin's Creed, Metal Republic, Expedition 33.
There's a lot of games like what Asha said. It just it's like it sounds bad, but it's like we don't really. Nobody has ill intent here.
Here's a question that he says. He said that Grim says, do a new IP with this character as the focus. That would have been more acceptable in my opinion. I think what's interesting there is like, because Asha, you're the one who brought this up, and I thought this was a really fantastic point. This is what Hellblade 2 should have been. Because I'm seeing the gameplay here and I'm like, yo, the gameplay looks fun. There's multiple enemies on screen. It looks badass. There's mocap. Like, you can imagine Ninja Theory's mocap skills making a game that is kind of similar in this vein, where you're fighting different enemies, different monsters, and the action is like actually interesting. This is what Hellblade 2 should have been, which then makes me think that like you could have done a different, like as Dalgrim is saying, you could have done a different game without the God of War franchise behind it, and then you could have then your IP wouldn't have had like as much pushback, because now what you're doing is you're pissing off the fan base, especially if you're telling them this is a core game and not an expansion, because now you've taken away the core elements that they like, which is the violence, the gore. Like, you already kind of took it away, from the previous trilogy, but now you're kind of making it worse. So I see where and people are gonna come from with this.
And you know what you could have called that game?
What?
Heavenly Sword 2. Like, you have this game in your life, you have this IP with a red-headed, like it's such a layup. Red-headed, like whatchamacallit, title character. Same sort of like fighting style. It's just that the game was just not great. It was at the time when Heavenly Sword came out, it was hailed as the female-led God of War.
Oh, this game.
Yeah.
That's what I just feel like
And
Santa
guess who
Monica.
made it?
If you, who did?
Sorry, Ty.
Ninja
Guess who
Theory.
made the Ty? Ninja Theory.
Theory.
Oh,
Yeah.
The irony. You see, the jokes write themselves.
wow. For real.
But yeah, listen, I get where you guys are coming from. I do think this is a play for a different audience. Obviously, I think there's a lot here that kind of leads towards that. I do think they need to be. I think here's a way that I could have done this. I would have shown off the trailer for the God of War remaster, and Kratos is in his gory self. Showing the violence, him snapping people's body parts side by side, and heck, let people know like, yeah, guys, the sex scenes are back. Tap X to hit harder.
They're not bringing those sex scenes back. They're not. I don't think they're going to. There's no way with the way they act about this shit. There's no way in hell is Sony's bringing back those sex scenes.
Yeah, they're gonna. That's gonna. If Jaffe was there, then I mean they'll probably fight him on it too as well. Tell him to get lost. But yeah, let's I got a quick hit one here for you guys. This is about it's an interesting one. It's about Control Resonance has an early access mode that is exclusive to PlayStation for them to buy if they get the premium edition. Now this caused some problems with the Remedy's fan base, the Control fans, because basically if you buy it on PlayStation, like the Ultimate Edition or the Premium Edition, and you buy it on Xbox, you get the you get the early access for PlayStation. So Steam and Xbox users don't have access to this, even if they get the same Premium Edition. So the fans are kind of pushing back on it. Like, it's not like the Premium Edition is exclusive to PlayStation. There's a feature in the Premium Edition that's exclusive to PlayStation. I mean, before I jump onto the next point here, what are your thoughts on that? Do you think that's a little bit too much? Like, as a developer, do you think that's just bad optics to do?
Yeah, it's bad optics. The Remedy's always doing something. Last Alan Wake 2 was the Epic Game Store because they needed the funding for the game, so I get it. I always get these things. It's definitely they help give. It was probably Sony probably paid for some of this to get that deal, so it's like they're not going to throw away that cash. But
someone was actually saying like, "Oh, you guys that like broke?" And I'm like, "Have you been seeing the reports? They broke. Like they ain't got no money. Like they need this deal." So for me, anyway, I do think it pisses off the fan base because obviously, for them, if you just said, "Yo, we're doing early access and we're gonna charge like $100 for it," I think the fan base will understand. But I think it's the fact that like the fan base who actually wants to buy it, they can't buy it because you've made it exclusive to another platform. I think that's what's really kind of pissing them off. The way here's why I think I would have kind of seen it. I would have kind of phrased it this way. For the PlayStation fans who are buying it, Sony is basically paying for it. So for every time you guys purchase it, Sony subsidizes it by $15. So that's how you get it. But for everyone else, you have to pay extra for it. Like, I think that might have made more sense to me. But this way, they've basically just said, like, oh, to our fan base, like, who's actually participating in premium editions, you ain't getting it, we don't care. So that kind of felt a bit odd. Asha, any quick thoughts on this?
Largely, I think I'm in line with you guys here. I agree with Kenwell. Yeah, I don't really have much to add.
Okay. Well, here's one that you might find more interesting. There are two separate benefits with this game. If you buy it on PlayStation, okay, the Premium Edition, you get early access. Now, Xbox obviously paid them a little bit of cash, but theirs is different. Their payment comes in the form of Play Anywhere, and I think it's going to be on cloud gaming as well if you have the X Cloud. Which option do you think is better? Do you think if you were as a consumer and there's two consoles, let's forget about PlayStation and Xbox. One is saying you buy it on our product, you get to play 5 days early, done. The other guy is saying like you buy it on our side, you get Play Anywhere, so the same copy can be played on your PC, Rogue Ally, blah 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 blah. Which one would you prefer, Oshus?
See, I don't care for any of those things, but like, I mean, in terms of like which one is better value, if they cost the same amount, the Play Anywhere is probably the better value. But both those things are not things that are gonna entice me. Playing a game early is not a like it's not like I'm short of things to play that I need to jump onto your game, so I don't care. Playing a game anyway is also useless to me because I play graphically intense games on my PC. I don't want to play them on mobile. So it's either I'm gonna get on my PC if it's like super graphically intense, or I'll get on my I'll get on my Xbox if again it's a situation of like, well, do I prefer to play it in my living room or do I prefer to play it on my desktop? So the better deal for the client, the customer would be, yeah, play anyway. But for me, I'm indifferent to both those things. You know this. It doesn't. I don't get like that. That's not a benefit to me.
Yeah. Okay. I got you. How about you, Kenwell? Do you share the same thoughts? Would you prefer if your platform holder was pushing exclusive deals and missions and all these things, and maybe even early access for for you as a customer, or do you think the Xbox way of doing this is actually better because they focus on play anywhere?
Personally, I like the early access. That's the one pre-order bonus that I definitely care more for. I don't know. I know like it's available to everybody for the most part, but I just like the fact that I get to play the game early. It feels like I get to play the game early, so I care more about that than the play anywhere.
Okay, cool. Wow. So listen, we've done this for like an hour 40 minutes, and we haven't spoken about Xbox. I'm actually quite pleased with that because we're talking about games. We're talking about some other stuff, but let's do some quick Xbox news.
I do have to leave in probably the next 15 minutes.
Goddamn, maybe we should do this tomorrow instead then. You're thinking like, bro, you wasted so much time talking about this bullshit God of War games and this other random crap. Hey, no,
I love this. Nah, this is great.
Well, okay, we can leave the Xbox mandate stuff maybe for. I mean, are you free tomorrow or are you're gonna be busy?
Let me see.
We can talk about it offline.
Yeah, we can talk about it offline. But let's see how much we can talk about because
Okay, sure.
Because I feel like there's like 3 important quotes.
Okay, cool. Well, the first one that we're going to talk about is just Xbox sales doing well in the UK. So for the first time in many years, the Xbox console sales rose up, and the PS5 sales dropped, and they were, according to the UK, I can't remember his name now, but according to what's the UK guy's name again? Christopher Drink. They were a couple of hundred units away from each other, which is extremely close. Does this reinforce the idea that exclusives are not antiquated and they do matter? Asha, you go first.
Oh, I think Asha said he would be back.
Oh, did he? Okay, yeah. Come on, you fire away.
Yeah, so exclusives, I don't think that's a true statement. Well, not a true statement. I would disagree. I still think right now exclusives matter because you got to bring them to your console. I think what really matters is, again, the economic situation. I think there's been a lot of price hikes and price changes with these consoles. And so gas, you have to include that. There's a lot of factors. There's a lot of external factors with this that probably contributed to the sales declining because would this be the first time that Xbox and PlayStation sales have both looked similarly? I think that goes to show that they're both dealing with these economic factors that's hurting their sales. It's not exclusives.
Okay. Well, let's move on to the Asha quotes.
Yes.
So she had a conversation with with Bloomberg Tech Live. And I have some key quotes that I think are interesting. So one of them is Asha was asked about, hey, is Microsoft giving you pressure? They're telling you to do things this way or that way? And the response was, my mandate is not 30% accountability margins. It's not enterprise software margins. It's to be the number one gaming and entertainment company. And and that's what we're going to do. What do you think about this? Because there was this conversation about, hey, Xbox has 30% margins on all these companies, and they need to reach these margins. And apparently, Jez even said that, like, yeah, he saw some documentation that says that Xbox had to reach accountability margins by 2030. Now, of course, things collapsed heavily and things have seems to have changed. But do you buy Asha when she says that her accountability margins are not 30%, and it's not enterprise margins at all? Or do you think, like, yeah, there's some truth there?
Yeah, nah, I don't believe her. I can't believe anything Xbox says. Like, what she's saying is like, it's to be the number one gaming and entertainment company, and that's what we're going to do. It's just a lot of hype pre-game speech talk that it's like, I understand this isn't the time or place, but it needs to be said. How are you going to do this, Xbox? How are you going to do this? There's a big ass elephant in the room where it's like the lady interviewing her, they keep doing this stupid joke where it's like, yeah, I know a lot about games. I have a 13-year-old son. No, you don't. You don't know a lot about games, because if you did, you would know that Xbox is giving their games away to both Sony and Nintendo. So how are you going to make them the number one gaming and entertainment company with side by side saying that, yeah, we got to focus on what we love about Xbox? Because I remember she that was like one of the first things she said. She was like, yeah, the first 100 days I did was really understanding why people love Xbox and what's the soul of Xbox. And it's like, there's no soul. That shit is dead. That shit only lasted during the 360. So let's start there. Then again, it's like you're trying to care for the console, but then also care for also be the number one gaming and entertainment company. I feel like it's one of those where you can get there, but we'll have to leave the console behind, because I still believe they're going to at some point leave that console behind and just go full steam ahead with Xbox Play Everywhere, Xbox Game Pass, all that kind of stuff. This gave me no confidence in it, because it's the finals, it's the championship, and you have the team captain making the speech. That's all this quote was.
Asha, see you there? Okay, it's probably not there. I see your point, and I think there's a lot going on here. I think I'm more optimistic in the sense that I do trust her. I do think that accountability margins have reduced. I don't think she's telling us what those are. So I do think she does have a framework she can work within. I think Xbox has realized that they are in a situation where they can, because one of the key things she said here, and I don't know if you want to say this quote, is that she says, like, at the same time we're increasingly becoming a platform, and in order to become a platform you must have exclusive content and services, and so we're looking at that very closely. I think this is Xbox's first acknowledgement that exclusives and all these things do matter to grow an ecosystem. I think that was very important, because it means that I believe 100% something is definitely going to happen. I don't know what shape or form it's going to come in. I've given us a few examples of, like, you could do 1 year exclusives, 3 year exclusives, 6 months exclusives, or you can do exclusives in the sense of, like, Elder Scrolls 6 is always going to be on, it's going to be not early access, but they're going to get more missions, more stories, all this kind of stuff, right? I think that can play out. But yeah, from a margin perspective, I do believe she has more leeway. And I think the question is, like, can she walk and chew? Can you be a platform holder and also be, like, the biggest publisher? And I think yes. I don't think you have to pick one or the other. I think you can actually do both. Obviously, if you focus entirely on one, it's more effective. But I think in the long run, doing actually both is actually what makes the most sense to me. So why do I say both? One, your game should be exclusive to your platform, but these are your single player titles that brings in an audience. When it comes to multiplayer, they do extremely well because they're all multi-platform, right? I don't know if multiplayer games are really bringing in people to platforms, but just release them everywhere. Like, if you're to ask Sony right now, do you regret releasing Helldivers 2 on Steam? They'll probably say, hell fucking no. Like, do you know how much that we made? Like, we sold like 15 million copies or whatever it is, and that money allowed us to make more games, more single player games. So I think that's what I'm really looking at. If you can leverage all those ecosystems to help you grow your own ecosystem, that's a very good winning position to be in. Now the question is, what is the balance there? They have the data, so I guess they'll act accordingly, and we'll see. But in relation to like the other quote that she said, Ken, about becoming a platform, or becoming the platform holder, or becoming the biggest publisher, and she wants to do this by 2030, I believe she said. What are your thoughts on that, and how do you think like she can manage this, or manage this fine balance?
I think you offered the most realistic solution. I think you have small exclusive stuff like a cosmetic or extra missions, stuff like that. I think that's the only way, but I don't know how far that really goes. Again, I'm very pessimistic about this, because it's just how much rope can you give Xbox at this point? I just don't see that. So I don't get how you're going to become a platform holder and you say you must have exclusive content and services. That's cool, but again, you're talking about I know the Xbox fan base is large enough, but it's not large enough. The Xbox fan base is large, but we saw rumblings that people were willing to entirely skip out on putting games on Xbox. So I don't know. It's like, it seems like it seems like they don't know how bad their situation is, because the default console is PlayStation. So you need to figure out a way to bring people back, which would take an entire console generation. The Project Helix has to be focused on putting exclusive content out and taking even more losses on top of what you've been taking already, because it's built. You're going back to the bottom. No matter what, you're going back to the bottom. You have to reestablish that you're a platform that people want to invest into, which is a lot harder. Like, again, you putting out, I think it's a good idea. Hey, a cosmetic skin, an exclusive expansion pack, stuff like that. But how far does that really go? And most importantly, you've been taking a lot of losses. So how many more losses you can sustain, especially when Project Helix, you're going to find yourself in the same situation as the Xbox Series X. You have a plan, but all of a sudden you want to switch up plans because now the top C-suite people get in and they're like, whoa, we need our money. So I just don't believe what she's saying. It just seems unrealistic after, like, why did Xbox change to you? It's because they've been doing so fucking poorly. That's why they had to change leadership. And then for you to just come in acting like this shit is going to be like, oh, all we have to do is this. So we just got to, it just seems like we just got to say the right things. I just don't, I don't see it. I don't see a future with Xbox.
Back. So,
yeah, so we said a few quotes.
What's the question?
The first quote was, when Asha was asked about the, do you have any margins imposed on you? Did Satcha do anything? They asked her, like, what about Copilot? Because Satcha was very Copilot, cloud Copilot, and you got rid of Copilot. Was that you had to like talk to Satcha, and what did he say? And she said that, like, that was an Xbox decision. Like, straight away she was like, nah, Microsoft didn't make that decision. We as Xbox didn't make that decision. And she pointed out that my job is not to my job is to to grow Xbox, is to be Xbox. So some of this margin stuff that you guys are talking about, and the direct quote there is that my mandate is not 30% accountability. It's not enterprise software margins. It's to be the number one gaming and entertainment company, and that's what we're going to do. Excuse me. What's your take on that? Do you
Well,
trust it?
at
Do you believe it? And
least
you think she can succeed?
at least now we have a like Xbox has never had a goal. Like I didn't know what was Phil Spencer's goal again.
I don't know. You tell me.
Exactly. Like at least now they have a clear goal to say, okay, cool, this is what we want to do. We want to be the number one. That's a clear goal. At least she has a vision. This girl, I'll give her this. Oh, sorry, this girl, this young woman, or this executive or leader, whatever. She is a little bit more, in my opinion, more focused in the sense that I understand what she's trying to do. But as I said to you earlier when we were speaking, is that I think she's surrounded by a bunch of inept people who are not up to the task to do what she has to do. Even when I was listening to her answers, I'm like, if these people really cared about winning, they would have given her better to prep her for, as people that have been in this for 10 years. Like what is like everything that she said sounded to me like someone who was unsure of giving the right or wrong answer. And to me, that confidence needs to come from the people that work for you, who sort of understand what their commitment is and understand the context of where Xbox is. I don't think she was giving any of that context. Hence, I said to you, like, if I was her, I would make further changes to Xbox and get rid of a lot of these people that are not clearly stating what we should be doing or focusing on what we should be doing. So, I don't think she is. I think she's doing the best with what she has, and at Xbox she doesn't have a lot. I mean, if your top
so
guy is
interesting,
Matt Booty,
you know.
I mean, if
It's
your top
interesting
guy
because
is Matt
I
Booty,
think
dude, come on.
because I actually think she's. I think the interview was actually fantastic. You know, like obviously,
Really?
yeah. I thought it was dope. Like
I just,
I thought she answered everything like the
but
way she should.
there's softball questions.
Exactly,
No,
dude.
Like
really?
they're not, like I said. You have to follow it up with, okay, you plan to release exclusives, but like we went through a generation where Xbox said they're gonna have exclusives, and then they said they were
Exactly.
only gonna do a case by case, and then they just said everything's an exclusive. Like your brand reputation is in the dumps.
To Kenwell's point about that is that, like, she's like they're still mincing words. Well, what the fuck does we're a platform, like, even the statement that she made about being a platform holder made me just scratch my head a little bit. I'm like, but you were always a platform holder first. You only became a publisher a couple of years ago. Like, who in your team did not tell you? Like to me, that's a rookie mistake of you understanding your business.
No,
Basically,
I don't.
she's saying.
I honestly don't think so. Like,
So why
first of
would
all,
she say we're a platform holder?
wait.
Sorry,
Before even
we're a
that, yeah, like
publisher.
I didn't get the quotes here already. But like one of the things she kept reiterating in this in the full interviews, that she kept on saying like, oh, like we're core to the console, like, and she was talking about like the console has grown, Xbox is a place for people to play, and she's like, you know, we have a core fan base that is important. But to reach the future of the future, you know, kids or generation, it's a little bit different. They kind of play in different locations, but but we need to build from our core first. So she kept on kind of emphasizing how the
Yeah,
console
but
and the core is important.
so my question is then why would you say that we're a publisher and now we're becoming a platform holder? You were always a platform holder. You just became a publisher. So what she should be saying is that we want to strengthen, or we want to, and this is why I'm starting to think maybe she doesn't understand what she means by back to Xbox. Because if you're saying you're going back to Xbox, you're saying we're going back to being a strong platform holder, and now we're the second biggest publisher in the world. See, that would make sense, but she said it the other way around, and it's not even the order of what she said it, it's how she said it. She said, well, we're the second biggest publisher in the world, and now, only now, we're becoming a platform holder. And I'm like, huh?
All right, I just don't. I'm pretty down on, yeah. So yeah, you know me. Yeah, I'm pretty down on Xbox. I just don't like. So in the interview, she goes like, you hired this guy named Matthew Ball, right? And I look up this guy Matthew Ball, and he's like he comes from analytics. And I'm like, don't you guys have enough analytics people? You need people. If you're trying to make this a platform holder, your exclusive content must be great. And a person who is just doing data analytics, that's not a creative. You need creatives more up at the top. That was what Sony was doing so well. You had creatives in high positions, people that were in the trenches that knew what they were doing, and they had good tastemakers. You're having data analytic people that are tastemakers, so they're being told what's good from data. And this is who you hire. She doesn't like. It's what Asha is saying. Like her team is not good. She means well, but her team is not good because I don't think her team knows how bad of a situation Xbox is in.
Oof, man, damn. There's some disagreements here. Damn. So, like, I'm trying to get the full quote here, and I think here's what she says. She says, "Look, we're the number 2 publisher, and so Sharma said that Xbox is trying to balance being a successful video game publisher while also building its own platform. 2 business models that could be at odds with each other. Look, we're the number 2 publisher in the world, and in order to be a great publisher, you must have your games reach large audiences to play," said Sharma. "At the same time, we're increasingly becoming a platform, and in order to become a platform, you must have exclusive content and services. And so we're looking at that very closely. I think that we have to be very thoughtful about each title on how we want to think about it and learn from the similar cases in the industry. That's what we're doing." So when she said platform, Ushers, like for me, she was talking about Xbox console. She's talking about the ecosystem. That's cloud, PC, and the console, but everything is foundationally tied to the console. So, and when she says, we're the biggest publisher in the world, well, that is a fact. I don't think she's talking about Xbox game studios like, Forza, whatever. She's saying that, like, by default, we have Activision Blizzard in our portfolio. And all these titles, Call of Duty, makes it one of the biggest games in the world. We have Candy Crush, which is not on our own ecosystem. It's on Android and iOS. And Call of Duty is also going to be on Nintendo as per contractual agreement. We have Diablo already there. So that's already done. We have Tony Hawk and all those other games there. But also by default, you have Bethesda, who has Fallout 76. You have Elder Scrolls Online, which is another high game. And the truth is, Steam, when we put games on Steam, that is a publisher. We are probably the biggest publisher on Steam as well. So when she says we're the second biggest publisher, she's saying, like, yeah, these are just the facts. You might not like what I'm saying, but the truth is the truth. We are the biggest publisher in the world. But when she says we're becoming, when she says we're trying to become increasingly a platform, that could have been phrased a little bit better. But I actually understand what she's just trying to say. She's not trying to say like we're becoming, like, it's not console. When she says platform, she means that Xbox, console, handhelds, PC, and cloud. And she mentioned even like in the interview, the handhelds, like, yeah, yes, handhelds is just another way to kind of get to the games. She didn't hint that they're gonna make a handheld console, but she just said, like, yeah, it's another feature of getting towards playing Xbox games. So I'm a lot more like I'm not cynical as you guys on this point, because I think she actually.
Well, let me ask you a question, Ty. Then why did she mention that when she was talking about exclusives? If she's not talking about console, she said as a platform holder, since we're becoming increasingly like a platform holder, all of a sudden now we have to think about exclusives. Why would you mention being a platform holder and exclusives if you are sort of saying, well,
yeah, but sorry, when she says platform, she means the Xbox ecosystem, right?
So okay, but like, why would you mention that with exclusives? Because that's not what your community is asking.
No, because we're gonna have, like,
unless your community
hold on, because we need to kind of like to make sure everyone's on the same page. When she says platform, Ken, like, what do you think she means? Do you think she just means console, or do you think she means like, no, I mean the PC storefront, Xbox PC storefront, I mean console, and I mean like, people within the Xbox ecosystem, including cloud gaming? Ken, you there? Oh, maybe he's gone. Asha's.
My fault. What'd you say?
When Asha says platform, do you think she just means console, or do you think she means like, well, I mean the ecosystem, like, you know, PC, Xbox PC storefronts, Xbox console storefronts, and, you know, cloud gaming storefronts?
All of those. Not yeah, like the ecosystem. I would say the ecosystem.
So I think that too. Asha, do you think that, or do you think she just means console?
No, I know that she means that, but like I don't. That's not what your freaking people that you've been lying to. Just speak plainly. Like, this is my problem with Xbox. Is stop this bullshit of trying to fucking, you know, like jump over the one side of the line and the other side of the line. You know what your people asked you for. They asked you for exclusive games. So now if you answering that question and you're answering it from a platform perspective, you're not answering and you're not addressing what your fans want from you. And if she's not talking about console, she went on to talk about like, well, she said games, and then she went on to talk about what did she say? Games and content, exclusive games and content. And again, I think Xbox should be in a position right now where they don't mince their words when it comes to this. Be clear as to what you're saying, and then act on it. Otherwise, you're doing exactly what fucking Phil Spencer and Sarah Bond were doing. Not answering and not committing to anything. You're not committing anything to your fans to say, well, you know what? You're going to get the next Gears exclusive to your platform. You're going to get the next Halo exclusive to your platform.
Well. I mean, this won't be the place to announce that. Like, no way.
No, it's not the place to announce that, but it's the place to say that, yes, we're committed to making sure that our fans have exclusive games. Yes, we're committed to making sure that our fans have exclusive features on their platform. And again, stop this thing. Like when you say platform, clarify. Tell people what I mean by platform is I'm talking about the ecosystem.
No, but I don't think you need to clarify though.
I think you do, Ty. Shit.
There's a lot of I thought the chat was empty for a little bit, but that agreement is here. So it says, sorry, just real quick. It says, it says the combination that would probably give them the boost they need is a stellar launch of the new console model with an exclusive launch of a title that would bring an already strong, loyal fan base. The experience that exclusive as the most polished, stable, expansive, fun, single-player experience. Elder Scrolls 6. If they do that, they win. Yeah, I agree. Elder Scrolls 6, if that's an exclusive game and that launches with
but they can't make Elder Scrolls 6 exclusive.
Oh, of course. Oh, yes, they can.
Oh, they can't.
100% they can.
I don't think they
can,
man.
But they will not. That's the point, Ken.
Because they don't want to.
Just like they can just say, we can make exclusive. We can make these games exclusive. They can't even say that. So they're definitely not going to make those games exclusive.
Oh, well, they can. They're just not going to say it on the.
No, we're not
Bloomberg.
saying they can't. Ty, we're saying they.
No. I'm saying that if they were going to say, they would say it in Bloomberg. Like they wouldn't say it on this tech show. But what is it? Yeah.
But you think? Hold on. But you think they can release the Elder Scrolls 6? The Elder Scrolls 6 is that the budget for Elder Scrolls 6 is at least 500 million. So you're thinking they can just eat that cost?
Yeah.
So do you think they can eat the cost for Call of Duty?
Continually. I don't think they can.
No, not even continually. Do you think that they can eat the cost for one of Call of Duty game and make one Call of Duty exclusive?
Can they eat the cost for Call of Duty game?
Remember, Call of Duty is
no, they can't. No.
250 million.
No, Call of Duty is 700 million.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
So why can't they eat the cost for Call of Duty? Because I promise you, like,
well, I can tell you
the
why.
next Elder Scroll comes out, it's going to be about
why.
$1 billion. It's not going to be 500 million.
No. It is going to be less. It's going to be way less.
What? Elder Scrolls?
Yeah, Elder Scrolls
no way.
Way less.
No way.
Do you know what?
We're talking at least 700 million.
No,
it's going to be at least 700 million. So
at least 700 million.
If Sony games that are like linear, that like 30 hours, are now costing upwards of 400 million.
Mm-hmm.
No ways. There's no ways Elder Scrolls, the next Elder Scrolls game. I mean, what is it? Starfield that was empty cost about 250 to 300 million.
Yeah.
without marketing.
No. But wait, but Starfield has way more contents than Skyrim. It's just that it's spaced everywhere.
Yeah, but Elder Scrolls is gonna have to compete with that.
No, but I'm saying that Elder Scrolls 6 can probably be in the 250.
What? No ways.
No
There's
way.
No ways.
No
Taiwan.
way.
Wait.
How do you make an Elder
250
Scrolls games for
to
250?
because I think first of all, the biggest cost in development of games is actually just time, right? So if Elder Scrolls 6 has gone into full production, let's say in 2024, Starfield released in 2023, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So Elder Scrolls has gone to full production in 2020, this is 2025. I don't think it's full production yet, but 2025. I mean, and then it releases like in 6 years' time, then like, because Starfield was in development for like nearly 10 years. I don't think Elder Scrolls was going to take that long. I think the reason why Starfield was so long in development is because it's the same reason why Fable took so long, because you have a studio that is trying completely new things. For example, even I said this, me and Ken were talking about this earlier with CD Projekt Red. The reason why Cyberpunk took so long is because it's like, yo, we know how to make fantasy games where you're riding horses and doing all that shit, but now we got to do guns, we got to do cities, we got to do cars. We don't know how to do that. So Starfield is the exact same thing. They have to do space, they have to do all these mechanics. But you take them back to Elder Scrolls 6, which is just like, hey, we're just gonna ride horses again and do these things. I think like they can actually get that out faster than Starfield, and it'll be a better game for sure, because that's the skill set. I don't think Elder Scrolls 6 is going to take 10 years for them to make, because I think they understand how to make an Elder Scrolls game.
All right, but like what Asha said, God of War 2018, God of War Ragnarok costs more than God of War 2018. Now there's a rumor that The Witcher 4 is like 700 million, which is more than Cyberpunk.
The reason why
for The Witcher 4. Ain't no freaking
there's no way Elder Scrolls 6 is less.
No way.
Yeah, it's 800 million.
No ways.
700.
That game is going to cost between freaking. I'm almost positive you're not getting it away with anything less than 700 million for that game.
Okay, so I'll say this for a fact, okay, I'm looking at it. The figure includes approximately 389 million for development. So The Witcher 4 it's a weird one. The figure includes approximately 389 million for development and an additional 411 million for marketing. So CD Projekt Red wants to spend 500 million for marketing. I think this is not a Bethesda talking point when it comes to marketing. This is going to be an Xbox talking point. So it depends on how much you want to market it. So that's number one. Number two, The Witcher will cost way more than Elder Scrolls, because I think number one, I think The Witcher guys, they just do cinematics, they do voice acting well, whereas Bethesda just cheaps out on these things. Like they don't do any of these like crazy stuff. Like the most cinematic thing that like, can you remember when you first see the fucking Starborn in Starfield? Like what an absolute joke. Like it's so fucking like trash. It's so average. But that's fine, because I think that's what like Bethesda just want to do. Now, if they want to get more cinematic and all these things, then the cost will go up. But in terms of actual develop, like put it this way, I think Fable and Halo Infinite will go down as Xbox's most expensive game, just in terms of development costs, right? But what I'll say here is that I don't know if Elder Scrolls 6 will go down as the most expensive game, because I think Halo Infinite and Fable just kind of like took the piss. You gotta remember, Fable was in development for nearly 10 years. Like that's like, and Jiz was saying that like, yo, I think the reason why it's coming on PlayStation is because they need to recoup that cost some way, somehow.
What's the estimated cost for Fable? Isn't it like 200 million?
Nah, I don't think so.
The last number I checked was 200 million. Fable is not that expensive.
Oh, that would surprise me, man. 200 million for a game that's been in development for 10 years. That's just a surprise.
I don't know.
Fellas,
I do have to go.
It's
a pleasure. It's a pleasure. Next week, I'm down if you guys are free.
We'll chat to you later, man. All right,
yes, sir.
Thanks for coming through.
Nah, thanks for having me, yo. Have a good one, guys. Be safe.
Safe, man. Grim says, broad stroke messaging is hurting everyone. It's everywhere. People are frustrated and fatigued with oh shit, the screen's a bit too small. People just need to see that fans and consumers are respected again and listened to. Xbox can eat the cost for Elder Scrolls 6 because the money will be made back with creation over the next 20 years. Look at Skyrim with the creations for proof of concept. The keys in the fan generated content. Yes, this is also very, very true. Monetize content creation. Constant DLC size creations will fuel it and make the money back. Then release on PlayStation later with all creations, big money. I agree with all this, and maybe you agree with this too. But I think you're trying to say that like they wouldn't do it. The reason why I believe they will do it.
Don't think they will do it. So this is the thing, Ty. Like this is your 21st anniversary year. You not showing off, like they're not doing any of the things that we speculated that they would do. Like for instance, making sure that by June they show off Helix and they get that party started. It tells me they still don't have a fucking plan for Helix. So my point is this: if you want Helix to sell next generation, you need to make a firm commitment to say we're committed to making sure that Xbox customers have exclusive games. Not a vague statement about exclusive content, about platforms. Make a statement to say when Helix
It
comes
can't
out,
be here,
they
though.
will be.
It
Sorry?
can't be here.
No, well then why haven't you done it yet? And you're not
because
doing it at your
because if
showcase.
you're gonna do it, then you got to do it at your showcase. You can't do it here.
No, they're not gonna do it at their showcase either.
So when do you think they're gonna announce anything to do
I
exclusive?
don't know, dude. Like they haven't. I don't think they're gonna announce anything to do with exclusives. But I can tell you this: that it just shows me that you are still wishy-washy on your actual strategy for console. And when you release your hardware,
I think there is I think they're not fully committed yet, but I think they do have plans. And listen, I think right now I think it's almost clear that there's some type of exclusive coming. Tom Warren already reported that like there's 3 things that they're looking at. She's talking about exclusives so much. Oh yeah, to grow the ecosystem, we do need some level of exclusive. And so I think she's already kind of confirmed that. The question is, can Elder Scrolls be an exclusive? And the answer to me is simply yes, of course it can.
but it won't be. The same reason why they won't make any Call of Duty thing or anything from Activision
different.
Blizzard. How is it different?
Well, first of all, they have
So let me put it like this.
Well, first of all, they have a 10-year agreement, so they can't do that with Call of Duty.
Which they are the ones that actually volunteered that.
Yeah,
They're the ones that said,
they want to
put
get
up
up
our
the
hands
line
to
as
do
well,
it.
though.
Okay, cool. So let me ask you this question then. So what? And again, I promise you, even if they show off Blade at that showcase, it will not be exclusive. Why? Like at no point you are putting your number one flagship on PlayStation's platform. You're going to put Gears of War, E-Day on PlayStation. Like so when do you start the exclusives? Like so when do you now change culture and get people over to say, okay, cool, our games.
Wait. So just for reference, you think it's not even about like something like a timed exclusive? It's not even like an exclusive that's like 3 months. You think there's no exclusive coming back at all?
It's time.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. So this is my thing, right? Kenwell said something very important. They are in a dire position. And he said, I don't think they understand how far down they are. A 3-month, and somebody actually said this, and I think I quoted this to you. A 3-month exclusive or a 3 to 9 month exclusive is not going to change your fortunes in terms of how the games sell on your platform. You need like proper. If you're going to make timed exclusive, then you do like a proper Sony exclusive where you ask for 2 years before that game lands on another console. If you can't do that, whatever you do, it's too little, too late. You can't tell me that you're gonna make Elder Scrolls 6 months exclusive, and you think that's gonna change the tides for you.
Okay. So you do think that there could be an exclusive, but it's just gonna be ineffective.
If they do, they're gonna do too little. They're not gonna commit to it. Which is just don't do it then. Just leave it. Like just be a commit. Like, you know what I would love from Xbox, Ty, to be honest with you? I would love them to just commit to being a third-party publisher and just let it go. Just say we're gonna make games for everyone and just let it go. And
no,
then,
but like you're saying this, but that's not what they're saying.
But they're not saying anything to the fans, dude.
No, but
They're just dropping breadcrumbs.
A Bloomberg tech show is not for the fans.
Okay, so what have you told fans that you've not told Bloomberg?
She said she's already told fans are like, hey, we're looking into it, and
No,
it's
she
gonna-
said we hear you,
I'm sure she said
and
more
she
than
promised
that.
to change logos.
No,
That's it.
she released a memo. And
Yeah,
the
what did she
memo
say?
said
Yeah.
that we are reconsidering or reevaluating the exclusive discussions.
So Tai,
And then
how
after
long?
that, that, she's done this little press then. But again, when that memo released, the first thing I said is that, oh, we're probably gonna get an answer, and it makes sense to get an answer at the showcase, which is this Sunday. I do not believe in any way, shape, or form that it makes sense to talk about that in this situation. Like in a tech showcase like this. Like, can you imagine Xbox CEO announces to the fan base that exclusives, are back, but oh, she did that at a tech showcase where there's no fans at all interested.
Okay, but like I mean, at a one of these press conferences is where I think Sarah Bond said exclusives were antiquated. So my point is this, dude, is that like
Okay,
it doesn't
wait,
matter
then,
where you
but
announce
then
it, yeah?
so one person says that antiquated, which is the direction of them being multi-platform. And the new CEO says in the same location, no, they're not antiquated, they're important, and for us to grow.
No,
our
she didn't say they
ecosystem,
were
we need-
important. She said we've reevaluated.
No. But she said
exclusive
for us to
content.
grow. She says for us to grow our ecosystem, our platform, we need them.
No, she said as a platform we understand that. What did she? I can't remember what the exact quote was. But again, it's corporate speak.
No,
Right?
no. Wait. Was it corporate speak when Sarah Bond said it's antiquated?
Yes, absolutely. Like what all the shit that she said, like they don't commit to anything, Tai. And I'm saying to you, okay,
No. Wait. So you
Yeah.
think that when Xbox was going multi-platform, they didn't commit to multi-platform?
when did they commit? They never committed.
I'm trying
Did
to
they
understand.
come out and make
wait.
an announcement
So
that they
what
were
you're
going
saying
third
is that
party?
what Sarah said was bullshit, and what Asha is saying now is bullshit.
No, I'm saying it's corporate speak. Like when did they announce that they were going multi-platform, Tai?
When Phil Spencer was asked after all these interviews.
No. I want to
when
know. Did they announce officially that they were going multi-platform?
No, they said it was going to be 3 games, and then more games started to come and
Exactly.
come and come.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
but
you.
like, I mean, okay, they won't announce it.
And
but
what was that? When did they say that? Was that an Xbox dedicated event for the fans?
Yeah, it was. It was an Xbox podcast where
Okay,
they said
cool.
3 games.
Like, so do you think they were honest to their customers when they spoke during that event?
No, they weren't. But like, I don't know.
Okay.
You're trying to judge this character on what the previous administration said. Like,
No, I'm not trying to judge her.
wait.
character. I'm
So
saying,
okay. So when she says
yeah.
it's important to the ecosystem, and she says we're reevaluating it, are you saying she's just lying?
No, I'm not saying she's lying. I'm saying that doesn't mean anything to me. Because it
No,
means
no,
that
no.
she's
Okay,
not
wait,
committing
wait,
anything
wait,
to
wait,
me.
wait. Forget about you.
What
for
is
a
she
second, yeah.
committing? No. What is she
Forget
committing
about-
to the
forget about
Xbox
you for a
customer?
second- Forget about you for a second, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Like,
I'm forgetting about me. What is she
no,
committing to
no,
the Xbox
no.
customer?
At a minimum, what do you think might happen?
Nothing.
So you don't think it'll be a 1
Nothing
month
of
exclusive,
value.
3 months
No.
exclusive?
I don't think there's anything of value that's gonna come out of them doing exclusives for whatchamacallit going forward, because they're gonna do it in such a way that it doesn't mitigate what they need, which is to make sure that
so what you're
yeah.
saying then is that like they can do exclusives, but the exclusives, the whatever they're presenting,
they cannot do
whether it
proper
be
exclusives.
1 month,
They
2
can't
months,
do
3
exclusives
months.
the same way Sony and Nintendo do exclusives. That's what
Okay,
I'm saying.
okay, yeah, okay, fair enough then. Yeah, that's okay.
Which means that it's too little, too late. Then there's no point in you doing exclusives anyway. It's not gonna make a difference. It's
Okay.
like Indiana Jones made no difference.
Yeah.
Give me an exclusive
that's
that
a-
they've put timed that is
That's
actually
a
an
no.
exclusive.
Wait. That's a fair point. I don't know if I even disagree. However, where my disagreement comes from is that because that's going to be useless, I think she knows that's useless. I wouldn't be
Then
surprised.
why isn't she? Okay,
because
sorry.
this is not the time and place to say these. Like, listen,
No,
Sunday is coming,
no.
bruh. Sunday is coming, bruh. You're gonna get
So
your
my
ass-
point is this, dude. Okay, cool. So I'll take you. You know what? I'm not gonna disagree with you. I'm gonna take you on your word, Taye. And please clip this so that we can play it later on. I'm saying nothing is gonna change of significance. We will be in the exact same position next year, this time with Xbox. And you saying by the end of the year they would have committed to something that's going to make a material difference.
Real quick, Dalgrim says in an interview, she emphasized the data received that in today's current market, people are not buying into new games, but are reinvesting in new content that extends the life of established titles. She believes that fan created content is the way forward for long term viability. She wanted to talk about innovation and these things as well. She kind of has a different angle on these points, as Dalgrim is mentioning. I think the argument that she can say here is that new IPs or exclusives are good for growing. Oh, sorry, they're good for making money. Sorry, new IPs and all these exclusive content, they're great, but it's the juice worth the squeeze to alienate your audience. On the PS5 console or the Steam console, whatever it is. I think that's the kind of balance that she's trying to kind of find. I think I work with the default here is all multiplayer and live service games will be multi-platform, and single player titles might have a level of exclusive. I think they should just be full on exclusive, and there's nothing that she said here that's made me think that might not even be the case, because she's literally saying that, like, one, I don't have a 30% mandate, so this idea that, like, I'm under pressure to release games on PlayStation and all these platforms is not actually true. So let's just nip that in the bud. And I think too, what she's also saying here is that we're a platform, and in order for a platform to grow, it needs exclusive content and services. Now, I think where the argument here you could say is that, like, that's not exclusive games. That might be DLCs. It might be a special gun. It might be a special mission like Hogwarts Legacy. So I'll take that point here, but I'm almost willing to bet that, like, there's going to be some kind of level of exclusive. Now, whether that's the meaningful exclusive that you're talking about, that means to be seen for sure.
So what else? What I'll say to you, Tay,
But
is
she
that
shouldn't say it here. She shouldn't confirm it here.
you sweet, sweet summer child. You sound like such a optimistic Xbox fanboy. You know what? I hope it works out for you. Like, I hope your optimism pays off in terms of what Xbox is going to do. Because, like, I've been down this road before, and yeah. So, look, I hope to me, it would be great if what you're saying actually pans out. I will only gain to benefit because I've supported Xbox from day one. But me being me and knowing Xboxes, and same shit I've said to people since the beginning, whether it was about exclusives, whether it was about transitioning to third party, everything that I've said up until this point about Xbox has come to fruition. So personally, I'm at the position, or I'm I'm at the point where anything that Xbox says, I ignore completely. I wait for them to actually show me what they're going to do through their actions, because that's what you can judge them on, is their actual actions. And everything that they say always falls short of what they do. So that's why I say, you sweet, sweet summer child. I'm so glad that you've got so much confidence in Xbox getting stuff right. Because even with
I'm not even confident I'm getting stuff right. Well, like, to some extent, there's, like, yeah, there. I'm just more targeting, like, what she's actually saying in this, because as soon as she says, yeah, for the plot, like, for me, like, it looks like what you were saying is like, well, no, you should say just Xbox consoles. I'm like, no, like, platform, like, you need to say platform.
but like the thing is,
the Grim says
Sorry, go ahead.
the crossplay anywhere would be an exclusive service offered only by Xbox and PC. Yeah, so, like, yeah, that's an example of content that is unique to the Xbox platform, and also Game Pass, right? So the Grim is right there. But for me, like, when she says platform, it looks like when she said platform, I was like, yeah, that means cloud, that means PC, that means Xbox. Whereas it seems like you were trying to be like, no, because she didn't just say Xbox console. She's
I was
specific
saying,
around.
no. What I was saying was, she's not committing to anything. Like, whenever she says Xbox, for me, when I talk about a platform, I talk about a platform. When you talk about a platform holder, I'm talking about Sony. I'm talking about Nintendo. No one has ever referred to a platform holder before as someone that has multiple freaking devices on ecosystems. And I always say to people who like to talk about ecosystems, like, dude, you guys use this word interchangeably of ecosystem. The only company that has gotten an ecosystem correct in the right term, and that is how that whole ecosystem term was defined, is Apple. And Apple's ecosystem is very simple to understand. Awesome hardware, awesome software working together to service customers. That is an ecosystem. It's not a number of like Xbox has convinced people. It's the same thing that like Phil Spencer did of convincing people that exclusives don't matter. Xbox has convinced people that an ecosystem is a number of services that you offer that are just completely based on software. No. An ecosystem is everything attached to that.
No, but that is what they're doing, though.
What's that?
Would you say Steam has an ecosystem?
No, I wouldn't call Steam.
How do you define an ecosystem?
An ecosystem is, for me, an ecosystem is defined how Apple defines an ecosystem, which is you've got great hardware, software, these things, you provide these things, and these things work together to service customers. As I said, that is my definition of an ecosystem.
Can you say that again? I'm not trying to troll here. Say that again, but remove the parts that are not needed, aka great hardware.
Hardware, software together.
Okay, but they have a hardware though, and they have a software.
Yes.
So they are an ecosystem
together.
Yeah, together. Yeah.
Okay. So what is their hardware? What is their hardware?
The hardware is the console, Xbox Series X and S.
Okay. Cool. So the Xbox is their hardware. Aside Xbox, what is their other? Okay, cool. So they have their hardware in their ecosystem is just Xbox.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Does Xbox?
You could throw the ROG Ally to some extent on it. Yeah.
Okay. So do these things do different things yet work very well together? Like, for instance, an iPhone, an iPad, a MacBook, they all do different things. The software is almost seamless. It works seamlessly across all those devices. When you are in the Apple ecosystem, all your devices talk together, they work together, but at the same time, all of them do things that Windows cannot do. Like the thing that defines Apple's ecosystem is exclusivity. Everything that you get within Apple's ecosystem, you cannot get anywhere else, and Apple will not allow you to access that anywhere else. It's a closed ecosystem where everything works perfectly together. If you have an iPhone, it works better with your MacBook. My freaking Xbox doesn't work better because I have a PC.
When did Xbox stop having did Xbox ever have an ecosystem?
No, not really. Like, my Xbox doesn't work better because I have a PC or I have a phone.
What would you define this then?
Which is?
Like, if you don't think this is an ecosystem, what would you define?
It's a collection of services. That's all it is. They have a collection of services that they offer amongst different platforms. That's it. But it's not an ecosystem. You putting your games anywhere doesn't make it an ecosystem. You have to have something play anywhere. Just because your games are on play anyway, it doesn't make it an ecosystem. It needs to be an ecosystem is exactly that. It's an ecosystem. It's something that is in harmony, that works together. Microsoft does not have that. My Xbox does not talk to my PC. It does not does your PC work better because you have an Xbox? Does your mobile phone and what you do on it for Xbox work better because you have an Xbox? My MacBook is better when I use it with my iPhone, when I use it with my iPad, And when I do anything that I do within the Apple ecosystem is just so much more improved.
Okay,
because
but
all Apple's-
then when she
yeah,
says ecosystem, she means obviously collection of the services, as you would say, yeah.
Correct.
But even at that, but she's even addressed that though in her previous mail when she said that like we have different services that are disjointed that don't work together, so we're looking to merge them. And I think that's what even what it was saying, like we're going to merge everything together. So I guess you can make the argument that like they are trying to get towards this Steam like ecosystem where everything is talking to each other. But she called it out. She said like, yeah, we have different systems in place that don't work well together. In fact, I think Jess was talking about how like BattleNets, like even though the reason why you're not seeing games on X BattleNet is because it's a whole different system, and even to do play anywhere, it's just like not impossible, but like it's really difficult. With the ABK situation as well, Jay was saying how like it's very, very difficult because these games were not built in that way. So there's a lot of like, and he said like it's just all tech. It's all tech. They didn't build this in themselves. This is like another corporate company with a whole different data set doing something completely different.
Exactly.
But he was like, but they're working on it. So I guess in this sense, like they are looking to become this ecosystem. However, I think for the purpose, like when she talks about ecosystem, we know she really just means that like people who's able to sign into the Xbox platform.
Yeah, no, they're talking about MAUs. MAUs are not, what is it? Is it MAUs? Am I saying it right?
Wait, but when she says ecosystem, she's not talking about PlayStation though. She's talking about cloud gaming, Xbox PC, and Xbox console.
Well, I mean, if the metric for success is number of players, then she is talking about PlayStation.
But you see, you're projecting because her statement was at the same time we're increasingly becoming a platform, and in order to become a platform, you must have exclusive content and services.
But you can't do. But this is my problem, Ty, is that you can't do all these things at once. You can't, like, if you saying that your priority is being a publisher and being on as many being available as in many places as possible, but yet you want to curate an you can't do that. And again, I always use Apple as the model. No, you can't. Like, I always use Apple as the model. Like, the reason Apple works is because of the fact, it's the same reason Apple is horrible at AI, is because they have a closed ecosystem that is theirs. Because they don't want to be anywhere. They can put certain services everywhere, like Apple Music, and they can give you certain features with, like, for instance, iCloud. But at the same time, their ecosystem is closed exclusively to Apple products. And that's why that ecosystem works. You can't have your shit everywhere and then expect...
But she's like, you. It's like you're choosing to ignore what she's saying. She actually addressed these 2 points. She said, look, we are the number 2 publisher in the world, and in order to be a great publisher, you must have your games reach a large audience to play. So, okay, she's like acknowledging that, like, yeah, publishers, this is what they do. So you're acknowledging that, like, a publisher is different from a platform holder, right?
Correct.
So then she says, at the same time, we're increasingly becoming a platform. Now, just to be clear, what do you think she means by platform?
So in the definition, in terms of the conversation I'm having with you, I would assume that she means that, well, they're becoming an ecosystem by saying platform. Am I right?
Okay, yeah. So she's saying
that's what you're defining it as.
Yeah. So she's saying in order to be a platform, you must have exclusive. Like, when she says exclusive, that can't mean, well, I mean exclusive for Nintendo Switch and PlayStation and Switch and everybody else. No, when she says exclusive and she uses the word platform, she's clearly talking about the Xbox platform, right? We agree? Okay. So you must have exclusive.
And then this is my problem, Tai.
And so
go back to what you just said.
Yes, look at that very closely.
I love what you just said.
We have to be very thoughtful about each title and how we want to think about it, and learn from similar cases in the industry.
Please go back to that question that you asked me. You asked me about, like, you said, like, something about platform. You said if they're talking about exclusives to the platform. Sorry, I can't remember the exact. Yeah, but you said it, and then you said
Yeah, they're not talking about Nintendo and PlayStation, right?
Yes. Okay, so just please, go over that thing again. I just want to address that.
Yeah, if they're talking about exclusives, if we said platform is talking about things within the Xbox ecosystem. And she's talking about exclusives within the platform. Okay. She's not talking about putting exclusive content on PlayStation. She's talking about exclusives within the platform, correct?
Okay, so cool. So what would that platform be? Can you define that platform for me that she's talking about?
Anyone who can
just trying to-
sign into the Xbox platform, Steam, not Steam.
Wait,
sorry, streaming xCloud, the Xbox.
So what
PC
about if
Store,
I can sign
and
in?
Xbox.
If they ask me to sign in to play Call of Duty on PlayStation, that's
No,
not
that's not the same.
okay. So that's not the same. So we're not talking about monthly active users. We're talking about services exclusively, right?
No, we're talking about people who sign into the Xbox ecosystem.
So what does okay, I just want you to define that with me. So if I'm signing into the Xbox ecosystem on PlayStation, that doesn't count.
No, it doesn't count.
If I'm signing in from Steam, does that count?
No, it doesn't count.
Okay. So it's only if I'm signing in from, for instance, on the mobile app, on the Xbox console, and well, again with from Xbox PC. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, cool. No problem with that. And I'm saying to you, and I'm not gonna disagree with you, and I'm not gonna argue with you, Tigers. Again, as someone who's been with Xbox through this, I understand. I know where where I stand with this stuff. So what I'm going to say to you is I'm going to go back what I said earlier on, which is okay. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt, and I'll give her the benefit of the doubt to say, okay, let's see these exclusive things. But can you please, because I don't want. I'm a very you know me. I forget.
Hey,
I
MJ,
can't
how you
remember.
doing? Sorry, I was just
So
go ahead.
no problem. So I'm saying, table this conversation that we're having now. Let's wait because they've only got 2 events left in terms of big events. They've got the June event, and then of course the anniversary date, which is when they have to announce Helix or come out with Helix and tell us what it is. Please record this. I don't know if you're going to set a timer to it, and let's revisit this conversation, let's say in October, November. And I'm telling you, and this is my predictions, nothing would have changed for Xbox. You'd be exactly in the same position with hardware that is going to face plant when it comes out, and software where they cannot commit to it being exclusive to Xbox platforms. That is my prediction. So table this, and I want you to make your prediction, because you are very optimistic. You believe that they are going to commit to exclusives and they are going to do that. It's fine. Happy to do that. But let's table this, record it, timestamp it, and let's revisit it in November when everything is done, after they've done their 25th anniversary thing. My prediction is nothing would have changed. We'll still be in exactly the same position in terms of their stance on everything.
Just to be thanks, Marjorie. She said that bread looking good. Gracias, my dear. Just a quick one. Do you think that so when you say nothing will change, what you mean is your definition of material change, which is no 3 months exclusive, no 6 months exclusive. Like, what do you mean?
I mean proper exclusives where you commit to say Gears is an Xbox exclusive game, the same way God of War is a PS exclusive game. Give us proper exclusives.
So my definition here would always be that some type of exclusive will come back. Now you say material. I don't know if a material one. I don't know if I'm willing to commit to a material exclusive coming. And what I can do, you can, put it this way, I wouldn't even commit to this because I just don't like. I want this is not the kind of thing I'll do. I wouldn't, because I think she could say 3 months or 6 months. I think that would be useless. However, that would still be some level of exclusive, right? But I think
Not
what I can
that
say
any
here is
fan of X. I don't think that benefits Helix.
For interest, I could say minimum 6 months.
So my thing is that's not gonna benefit Helix. That's not gonna make Helix sell off the shelves. You want your next. You failed to sell your hardware this generation, dismally. So if you still plan to be in the hardware race, then you need to actually make a commitment to what you're going to do. Sony doesn't mince their words when they commit to their freaking software. They say you can only play God of War on PlayStation. Fuck you if you don't buy a PlayStation. You can only play this game on PlayStation. You don't want to buy, fuck you, go fuck yourself. So I'm saying to you, they will never be able to do that because they are always this wishy-washy, up in the air. Should we not? Are we? Like, it's such a, to me, it's, if you are with Xbox because of the fact that you think someday they're going to make exclusives, then Do I have a freaking how do they say? Do I have something to sell you? Like, dude, at the end of the day, it just comes down to their commitment, and they're not committed to their fans. And I had a huge argument with a guy that today, like in the Xbox group, that is for everything going everywhere. And they called me like a hater, and I don't want people. I am trying to sow divisions, and I'm saying all I'm trying to do is to say, I wish for once Xbox would put the people that buy its hardware first. That is my only wish. Is I just wish if you buy Xbox hardware, you get the same thing that someone who buys Switch hardware gets, and someone who buys PlayStation 5 hardware gets. But if you buy Xbox hardware, you'll never get that value proposition back. All you're going to do is you're going to get a system that plays third-party games. Who wants that? And that's what I'm saying to you, is that if they cannot commit to that, the Helix is dead on water. No one's gonna buy that thing.
So I think for Helix, the best thing, listen, it's all about tools. How many tools do you have to make your product stand out more? I'll give you an example. I think if they advertise, hey, listen, not needed to go online, like whatever, like online passes waived. Now, something did that with the PS3, right? And it didn't work to, really beat Xbox, but I think it did have a selling point. I know it had a selling point because I bought it for that reason. I was like, oh shit, I don't need to buy online. This is pretty cool, So I do think there's all these factors that they need. Exclusive is the biggest marketing point that you could have, and I think she knows that. The interesting thing here is she probably needs to look at it and say to herself, I don't have these crazy margins. What can I do? Like, can I just go all in? Maybe she doesn't have the right resources to go all in. Like I always say, if you're gonna keep releasing Hellblade 3 and Hellblade and South of Midnight 2, then you're just not gonna be able to win. I think Jess has said something really important. It's like the exclusive discussion is really hard for them. He's saying this almost as if like he knows something. That because Xbox, the previous administration, really shut down the cost of the consoles, that I think you were kind of pointing this out. Maybe you don't believe it anymore, maybe you do. But he's like, it was not Xbox consoles weren't selling. He said there was no consoles around for people to buy. And he's saying that like Xbox is now trying to, up those productions, and it's just not really happening. Like, I mean, they're trying, they're doing a lot more. And Asha said recently, they're like, hey, we've sold more Xboxes this year than whatever previous or whatever it is. So Jez's assessment was, I don't want to take him out of context, was that like, it's hard to make your game exclusive when there isn't even consoles for people to buy. Like, what's the point in making a game that costs 700 million exclusive, and you're expecting to sell like 10 million copies, but you can only sell 6 million or 7 million because you don't have enough product, you don't have enough consoles. I don't know if that's going to be a feature, but something to take note of. Let me see what else is being said here. Steam is an exclusive platform from PC. Yeah, true.
So actually, I'm glad somebody brought up Steam. I actually wanted to ask you this question because Steam is not an ecosystem. People keep saying no, Steam is not an ecosystem. Steam is a library. like let's not get that twisted. An ecosystem is several different services that are linked by software, hardware, etc. Steam is a library that you can just run on different stuff. It's not an ecosystem. It's not different services. Like Steam does not offer, like for instance, you have the Steam Deck, and you have and you have Steam on Windows. But like that's not enough to justify it as an ecosystem. To me, an ecosystem has to be you running software and hardware on several different platforms, and it runs seamlessly. Nothing on Steam runs seamlessly. If you're running things on Steam Deck, the only thing that you can really import is just your library. Same on PC, same on Linux. But that's not enough for an ecosystem, in my opinion.
Do you know what? I have a question. Do you think that the an ecosystem has always existed, but you've just changed the definition because Apple has done it so well, and therefore anything that falls below what Apple has done to you is not just like shit. Like you're lying.
Who came up with that phrase, or who came up with that terminology of an ecosystem?
I have no
Apple.
idea. It was them.
Apple. Apple came up with an like the whole idea of an ecosystem is based on Apple's is business model, or their model of what an ecosystem is. Nobody had an ecosystem before Apple. I'd love to for someone to come and say, yeah.
Would you say
that's an Apple
Microsoft
thing.
did with like
No,
with like Word
absolutely
and
not.
Windows?
No, that's not an ecosystem. Like the whole ecosystem word started with Apple. When you talk about an ecosystem, because they're the only ones that had an ecosystem. Windows never had an ecosystem.
I mean, like,
You can look it up.
I can okay. Let's see. Um, no, Apple did not invent the general concept of technological ecosystem, but Apple did invent and popularize the modern consumer device ecosystem. The seamlessness,
There you go.
highly integrated network of multiple personal devices, phone, computer, and tablets, watch, that work together as one unified experience. They turned it into a massive competitive advantage. Quick breakdown. James Moore, 1993. What did Apple do? They uploaded the idea. Close hardware and software integration. Apple 1980s perfected it. Multi-device consumer ecosystem 2010. Early C's. Macintosh emphasized tight hardware software integration. iPod and iTunes created the first true multi-device experience. Others before or around the same time. Microsoft tried with Windows Plus and Windows Phone plus Xbox, but it was never as seamless. So to me, that would be them. Like they would try, but it just wasn't as good. And I think that's maybe the point I'm saying here is that like I kind of struggle to think that like they were the first ones to do it. They were probably the first ones to do it really well. Sony had the Walkman, PlayStation, and Vaio, but poor integration. Google Android built a more open ecosystem, which is powerful but less sticky than Apple's closed one. Bottom line, Apple didn't invent the idea of ecosystems. That credit goes to James Moore. But they invented the consumer device ecosystem as we know it today. The one that makes you buy an iPad because you already have an iPhone, and a watch because it pairs perfectly with both. No other company has executed the multi-device service locked high loyalty ecosystem at Apple's scale and polish. That's why Apple's ecosystem is now a common phrase.
So again, we're not talking about like ecosystems in the sense of like the original idea. I'm talking about the modern idea that we're discussing right now. That is Apple's idea, and I'm saying if you cannot implement or execute or do it in that way, then again, good luck to you, because you're not like that. Is when I look for an example of an effective ecosystem, there is none that comes close to Apple. And I'm saying if you're Microsoft and you want to emulate that, then you need to start to commit to things. And then again, Apple commits to their customers 100%. They don't sort of look at you in the eye and say, well, maybe, you know what, we'll commit to you depending upon what our revenue looks like at the end of the year. Apple commits to their customers hands down to say that you will have the best. There's no question that what you're getting in the Apple ecosystem.
So I think this is where, and I think this is where we get a bit lost in definitions. I think sometimes you take certain things and you kind of like trim it into like maybe like your definition, and you like to just keep it like that. Because for example, I took what it said about Microsoft, tried it with the Windows, and I took what they said with the Sony Walkman, and I said, are these examples technically still ecosystems? And it says, yes, exactly. All of them are technically ecosystems, even if they were less successful or less seamless than Apple. The definition of technology device ecosystem doesn't require perfection or maximum stickiness. It only requires interconnected products, services, and platforms that create shared value and some level of lock-in. For example, it says the very, very high ecosystem example of this is iPhone, Mac, iPad, Watch, iPad Watch, iPods, iCloud, and App Store. It says extremely high and closed. Success at the ecosystem level, very high. And it says why it still counts. It's the gold standard. Now it says when it comes to Windows, it says Windows plus Xbox plus Surface plus Office 365 plus OneDrive plus Azure and plus Game Pass. It says high, so not extremely high like Apple, but it says high, especially now it's gotten better. And I guess that's what I was thinking about. Like, wait, like, but if you have Azure and you have OneDrive, like you could do this on your phone, you can do this on your even with Google. Like I open like my Google Drive on my mobile phone, I put on my laptop. It's like, wait, that's an ecosystem, right? But anyways, it says it's very high in gaming, so it's high in PC gaming. It says it's strong and productive, but it says it's not as good as Apple, right? Then it says about Android. It says Android, Chromebook, Gmail, Drive, YouTube, Gemini is like all these are all interconnected, and they're right because when I go on Google, my Gemini is there, my Gmail's already logged in, all this is already happening, and it says it's very high as well, and it says it dominates in openness and scale. PlayStation, it says medium to low, so it's like it's not great. It's like PlayStation was equivalent to the Walkman, which is quite old. The Vaio, the Xperia. I remember the Xperia did have a link to PlayStation.
So before you go any further, where do they list Steam on that? Because my whole point to you was that Steam is not an ecosystem. So where do they list Steam?
No, Steam is an ecosystem. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's what my point was.
When you said it's a storefront, but hold on, let me say is Steam an ecosystem? Because I think my thing with the Steam one would be that the reason why I say ecosystem is like my definition of ecosystem is actually not as connected as yours. I guess let me give my definition so just to make it make sense. But before that, the argument says they need to have the desire to risk and then deliver. So everything's outstanding. Have the ambition to go broke. I actually like that last statement. Have the ambition to go broke, as long as you're bringing out quality, of course. The agreement also says, oh no, that's it. Yeah, it says they need to have desire to do risk. So
but that's exactly what I've been saying to you, dude. Is that if they're not willing to put everything on the line and risk it, which they've never done, whenever they have the cards on the table, they always.
I don't think. Yeah, but I'm saying like I don't think live service games necessarily should be exclusive.
No, that's fine. But I'm saying, when have they put things on the line to compete?
No, they haven't yet. But we're talking about Asha now. We're talking about like you keep referencing Microsoft.
Oh my god! You think one executive is going to change the culture of an entire business?
That's like me saying like, well, they didn't want to.
No, I'm asking you.
Yeah,
do you think she can?
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
cool.
I do.
If you believe that, then
No,
let's
wait. But that's like Xbox being exclusive, right? During the 360 era, right? And Xbox One era, yeah.
They were always exclusive from the beginning.
Yeah. Okay, that's like me, and then somebody says out of nowhere, like, do you think one executive is gonna make Xbox go from being exclusive to multi-platform? And you would say no, but it did happen, right? One executive did, Phil Spencer.
Okay. So what I'm saying to you, okay, I believe you. So I'm saying, record this. No, what? I'll do it. I'm going to record this chat. Mm-hmm. We will revisit in November. My prediction is nothing would have changed. Xbox will be in exactly the same material position that they're in, and you saying that they're going to announce or something that's going to be revolutionary, that's going to change it.
You see, you're projecting. You're saying like I said this revolutionary.
Okay, cool. Not revolutionary. Give me your words. What do you think is going to happen?
Well, before that, so by definition of an ecosystem was applications that can work on different devices that would allow you, enable you to have the same experiences, and you could have sub applications that are connected to those applications and they feed information to each other. So it doesn't have to be just like a direct, like this is a big one, whatever it is. It can also have feeding in together. So an example with this could be, I have my Xbox console and I have my PC Xbox app. And when I log into my PC Xbox app, it feeds the console it feeds the information in. It might not do it seamlessly or perfectly, but it's feeding it together. And when I buy a product on my PC one, and obviously Xbox is doing this a lot more now, I can play the same kind of games, whatever it is. Anyways, I did ask AI what if Steam was a ecosystem, and he said yes. Steam is absolutely a technological gaming ecosystem and one of the strongest and most dominant in PC gaming. It perfectly fits the definition that we've been using: a network of interconnected products and services, platforms, content, and community, and now hardware that reinforce each other. I guess maybe they're trying to say is
Sorry,
like you could download the Steam app on your mobile phone and still be connected
Okay,
to
so
your
just go
Steam.
back. Just go back to the beginning of that. Something of like about the definition that you were using
My definition of what?
in what you read. It said something about
So
definition.
yes, Steam is absolutely a technological gaming ecosystem and one of the strongest and most dominant in PC gaming. It perfectly fits the definition we've been using, aka a network of interconnected products, services,
Okay.
platforms, content, community, and now hardware that reinforce each other, which creates a massive value and generates strong network effects. Example, platform and software. The Steam client, store, Steam OS, and Proton and Linux compatibility in Central Hub and Central Hub
So-
links everything together.
I agree with is it Grim when he says Steam is not an ecosystem. Agreed. It's an exclusive platform for distribution and dissemination of content and product. That's all it is. For now, depending on what Steam does, because to me an ecosystem does more than just do one thing. It has to be something that if you're doing one thing over several different platforms, to me that doesn't count as an ecosystem. Which is not what Xbox is offering, it's not what Apple's offering, it's not what anyone else is offering, because those guys are offering you several different things over several different devices and software. So I disagree with that definition, but if that's what they say an ecosystem is and they make it, it's fine. But
But
I
what
agree
about this
with,
though? When
Grim.
it says like Steam Cloud Saves, it says remote play, family sharing, achievements, overlay, trading cards, marketplace, all tied to one account. Then it says with the hardware, it says Steam Deck, Steam Controller, Steam Link, Index VR, Steam Machine, Steam Frame, and it's optimized for the Steam OS. And it says community as well: friend groups, lobbies, reviews, guides, Steam community, which you can all find within the Steam app or whatever it is. And it says developer tools, Steam Works, free publishing, and anti-cheat and analytics. I think it's looking at it as in like as long as you're interconnected to different locations and you can access your device from different locations, aka some of the games, aka your family members. Like listen, I don't have a Steam, like I don't really buy games on Steam, yeah. But whenever I sign in, I always see Asha is playing online on Steam. And then I message you and I call you like a loser or whatever. Like I always call my friend a loser on Steam. Like just trolling. But like it's probably
Because
something
you're
like
an
yeah, but
asshole,
like
it's got nothing.
but then here's the thing, yeah. It's like as soon as like that happens, yeah, my mobile phone probably pings and says, Asha is playing online on Steam. And I could probably message you from my mobile phone saying the exact same thing. And then my Steam my Steam Deck then goes boom, Asha's just playing online. So it's like you're connected via different devices to speak to Asha's. So I think there is a difference of definition between like what Grim is saying and what you're saying and what I'm saying as well.
Look, what you're saying makes sense. I'm not going to just for the sake of argument just to say like no. What you're saying makes sense. Is that okay? Cool, yeah. So I think let me say this right to what you're saying is that it's a very focused ecosystem that is just exclusively on gaming. But yeah, all the points that you made, I can't dispute. Yes, absolutely. It's interconnected devices that all facilitate gaming. So I suppose within that definition, we can call it an ecosystem. No problem there. You've convinced me that it's an ecosystem.
I think the difference is just the quality of the ecosystem.
Well, I would say the difference is actually the expansiveness of the ecosystem, because Microsoft, what they're attempting to do is to have a much broader ecosystem that does way more things. And Apple has perfected that, because it's not just about gaming, it's about everything else that you do within that ecosystem. So Apple's ecosystem is the perfect ecosystem because it does everything. No one can come close to that. Samsung has tried and failed. Microsoft, I don't even know if they were trying, but like they've failed repeatedly.
Well, I think the only one who could really come close to them is probably Google, right?
Google, and again with Google, most of it is still software. I won't lie, okay, cool, yeah, Google has actually made even inroads because they've got their own Chromebooks now. They've got, yeah, you're right. Yeah,
Android
Google
is
is the closest.
Android is popular everywhere. Everyone
Yeah,
uses
you're right.
Android over, so.
Absolutely. And Android uses different devices, but they all function the same. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, Google is the closest.
Yeah. Just to finish up what the Grahams and I already said that Steam is an ecosystem. Listen, Asha, it's been a good chat, man. That's it, longer than I expected.
You wanna do another 3 hours? Because
No.
I'm busy. So I'm busy packing as I'm talking to you now. Actually, that's why I disappeared for a while. Is because I'm busy putting my shit in boxes, getting
Yeah,
ready to
no,
move out.
my voice is gone. I'm tired. I can't go longer. But no, I do appreciate you, packing and coming through. Del Graham, I really do appreciate you. Long time no see, brother. It's been a long time actually. Maybe I need to like stream on my Thai Talks channel, but I'm probably more like when it's more sci-fi or RPG focused with Exodus or any of the new sci-fi titles coming out. But yeah, this has been fun. Marjorie, you showed up as well. Thank you for coming through. To Ken Wall, thank you as well for coming through.
Who's
I
Marjorie?
want to do this next week, but I have a wedding that I'm not too sure if I'm going to be going to. So if I do end up going to it, then I won't be able to stream or attend. But it's funny because the showcase is on Sunday.
Question. Hey, hold up. Who's Marjorie?
She's my friend. Oh god, she's not a gamer, so maybe you're not that interested.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah, she's not. She's one of those people who comes to support.
Hi, Marjorie. Thanks
Hi,
for
Marjorie.
supporting this loser.
Thanks for coming through, Marjorie. Really do appreciate that. But yeah, so I might not be here next week. But if I am, I'll come through as per usual. But yeah, listen, everyone. You guys have a good evening, good night. Xbox Showcase is on Sunday, so there'll be a lot to talk about as well. If I do an impromptu one on Sunday, but maybe I kind of doubt it. But listen, everyone, thanks for coming through. It's been fun again as usual. Always love talking about these games and love, hearing everyone's opinions and all the back and forth. So have a good one, guys. Ciao.